want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing that I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want to boldly go. More than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is Captain Log. It's almost Christmas, and there is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I don't want to hang my stocking there above the fireplace. Number one won't make me happy with the toy on the Christmas day. I just want to make it so more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is cute. Baby,
I don't
want a lot
for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. As an expert in humanity. Here is where I want to be. I don't want to box with Cisco far away on Deep Space Nine. I won't even rescue Janeway. Voyager will be just fine. I just want, Capitan Q, Captain Q to you, young man, make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is Jean-Luc.
My love is a fever, longing still for that which longer nurseth the disease. I do not love thee with mine eyes, for they in thee 1,000 errors see, but 'tis my heart that loves what they despise, who, in despite of few, are pleased to dote. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
Captain's Log Supplemental. There is still one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want to make it so more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true. All I want for Christmas is
Kill!
all I want for Christmas is
I protest. I am not a...
Hello everyone! Welcome to another edition of Chud Watch. Sorry, that was abrupt. I had to play that. I found it on Reddit, and I wanted to play it. I put a link in the chat if you want to listen to that, you know, on your own time. Sorry, let me turn this just barely on. Well, hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. You found 3 Christmas MGTOW vids? Okay, hold on. Let me pull them up. Oh no! Alright. I couldn't find Chud Watch videos for Christmas ones, but honestly, yeah, we could do these. We could probably do these. Something special, and there's a link. The left wants to feminize Ben Shapiro. Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh no. Let me go back and see what I missed. Tucker White 94, 20 bits. Happy Festivus, everyone. To celebrate, a donation has been made in your name to the Human Fund, Money for People. I also understand that reference. Degenerate Feminist, thank you for subscribing with a 4-month streak. says, Hannah, I finally caught you live. Tell me you never...
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
I finally caught you live to tell you the newer guy you started following, the one in Canada with the Peacemaker Society or whatever. He's from my city, the shame. Oh no. Keep an eye out. He starts a lot of street fights, apparently. We're in a hype train, by the way. We just surpassed level 1, so thank you very much. Bumble Homestead with 100 bits. Thanks for the entertainment while I work on projects. No problem. Thanks for choosing me to listen to in the background. Tucker White 94 with 20 bits. I'm still the bits leader, mother effers. Then we had the Dude Spanking Dudes sending me the 3 MGTOW videos. Chessabelle 20 bits. Your hair is gorgeous. Thank you. It doesn't feel like it. It's like frizzy and whatever, but okay, thank you. Logarth with 20 bits. Ho ho, oh no. Obowan, thank you for subscribing with an 8-month streak. Obowan says, happy 8 months, Hannah. Hope you and Baja have a Merry Christmas. Thank you. The same for you as well. Amateur Hardest with 20 bits. This is always sad. Look at his stats tab.
That's right.
Of the WWE website, his stats. Former owner of Monday Night Raw. 2013 WWE Hall of Fame inductee. 45th President of the United States. I feel like they could have gotten a more flattering picture of him than this, but maybe not. It is Donald Trump, so who knows. KR Goss, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub. Chessabelle, thank you for the 100 bits. Creeping Darkness with 20 bits. Train, evening, Hannah. You always have the best stuff to lift my bad days. Degenerate Feminist with 100 bits. The only somewhat okay part of this is the local government he is always shouting at is the worst. He's just very wrong about why. Mitchell Drummer, thank you for subscribing with a 5-month streak. Says, hey, Hannah, please tell me you've seen Dan Crenshaw's Cringe Georgia ad. I have. That's been sent to me multiple times. We watched it on stream. So that's good. Wow, the music isn't playing, or at least I can't hear it. Jeez. What a shocker. There's a police shooting in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah. Oh, and the body camera wasn't on. That's convenient for the police. John Doyle talking more crap. Yeah, well, we're in the hype train, which we are at 49% of level 2 right now. Let's go over what we have on deck today. I can't promise we're going to get to all of it, especially considering I just got 3 Christmas MGTOW videos to look at. So we have John Doyle talking about gun control and something he calls slave morality. I've definitely heard that term before. I think maybe even from John Doyle, but I don't remember what it is. We have a MAGA rap from Bryson Gray titled It Ain't Over Yet, or just Ain't Over Yet, which is about being in denial about the election results. Let me get to the different video. I don't like this one very much. Hello?
Do you need water?
I have water. I know I'm smacky. So maybe that's a little better. I don't know. Amateur Hardest says, holy crap, John Doyle doesn't have the MAGA hat on. I know he doesn't. Oh, hold on, let me make sure this is turned down enough. There we go. We are on level 3 of the hype train. Sweet. Let me... Moody Jazz with a bunch of bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 800 bits. First stream I've been able to catch. Love y'all. Thank you for all the bits. DBN Sleeps with 100 bits. Hannah, I have really similar hair to yours, and I didn't discover how to deal with that sort of frizzy poofiness until way late in life. Deva Curl makes a no-poo sulfate-free shampoo and conditioner that are really great for hair that is any kind of curly texture and will make it feel so nice and bring your waves curls out more. It's expensive, but you don't have to use much and it lasts me forever. What is it? Deva Curl. Hold on, let me write that down so I don't forget. Do I have a pen? I'd rather write in pen than pencil. Where did I put my pen? It's in this thing. Okay. Let me write that down so I don't forget. We are at 3% of the level 3 hype train. Come on, get to a blank page. Okay. Diva curl. No poo shampoo. Good to know. Thank you. Amateur Hardest says, oh, holy crap, John Doyle doesn't have the MAGA hat on. It's on the table, though, but yes, he did take it off. Meaty52 with 40 bits. Merry Christmas Eve Eve, Mama Bird. Merry Christmas Eve Eve to all of you as well. Empty the Tanks with 20 bits. Diva Curl made a bunch of people's hair fall out, though. Oh, no, did it? Okay. Maybe I won't use it then, because I can't lose any more of this hair. If you saw me without the bangs, and I've shown you guys on stream before, I can't stand to lose any more hair. Will Jake and I be doing any kind of New Year's Eve stream to ring in the new year with all of us? I'm not sure. I don't know. I haven't planned past Monday, basically, because Monday we're doing our holiday unboxing. Past that, I'm not sure. Check out some of Brad Mondo's videos. Okay. Hasn't Doyle got his MAGA hat glued on now? Felt like it, didn't it? Enreath with 50 bits. Yeah, as a cosmetologist, I've heard Diva Curl can be hit or miss. The person who recommended that is right that curly girls have to take care of their hair differently. Yeah, I gotta learn how to do that better. Hype train, 6% of level 3 with a minute and a half remaining. So let me see. Oh, I also missed another thing. KR Goss with a $50 donation. Merry Christmas, Hannah and Baja. Thank you for helping people feel valid. The soaps for Baja were sent to the P.O. box. Oh, sweet. We're doing the, like I said, P.O. unboxing Monday, so thank you, and thank you for your donation. I appreciate that. So yeah, let's see what else we're looking at today. Sticks and Hammer has a new video. I thought maybe we'll get into this, another video from Bass FCZ, though I do have the other MGTOW videos that are Christmas related, so we might save this for another day. We have Tim Pool once again trying to bait his audience with Civil War bait. We'll take a look at that. 30 seconds left on the level 3 hype train. Can we do it? We have Coping MAGA, which we'll start with, and then we have the 3 MGTOW Christmas videos that I was sent by Dude Spanking Dudes. 13 seconds. Chessabelle with 20 bits. I like the kind of poofy hair. It's literally the look I go for when getting my hair cut. Well, that's nice. Enreath with 50 bits. Since I'm licensed, I can buy salon products for cheap and forward them to your P.O. box. LOL. Okay. Alright, we got to, like, level 2. That's okay. Madam Smash Your Face in with 20 bits. Unicorn with a magical horn. Creeping Darkness with 20 bits. Hope everyone has a good holiday. I'm working. Have a delivery from Tennessee to Arizona. Ooh, hope that goes smooth. Bellstar, thank you for subscribing with an 8-month streak. And says Wednesday Chud's Day. Oh no. The Mannequin, thank you for raiding with a party of 6. Welcome. If you guys want, go ahead and take a look at the Mannequin here on Twitch.
Inspect this temple of capitalism.
So yeah, coolio. I guess we should probably get to the MAGA cope then, huh? And turn this off. Then we can go on to the MAGA cope. It's not even been a week yet, I don't think, so I'll reiterate in case you missed some of the previous streams. I will be getting to everyone's bit messages, as always, but during the stream, I do them periodically every 20 or 30 minutes instead of doing them when they come in, just so I don't have to pause every 30 seconds or so to go and read a bits message. So if you do bits messages, I will get to them, just not right away. Let me get to a couple of these right before we start the MAGA cope. Tucker White 94 with 20 bits, sod off, Moody Jazz, first place is mine, and then Tucker White 94 with another 20 bits, now it's mine. Okay. Is this a new schedule? I just started late today. I started a little late. I still want to start around 4, not 4:30, but... Okay, let's get into some MAGA grift. Now, we are on Christmas Eve this evening. This is the last Chud Watch before Christmas, I think. So, it's gonna be, I don't think there's gonna be anything Christmas related, but I do take a little bit of solace knowing that the MAGA Chuds are going to be spending their Christmas begging Santa to bring them a military coup. And luckily, I don't think Santa's down for that. He's, not exactly right-wing. Santa breaks into people's houses and spreads wealth to them by giving them free material possessions. That's not very capitalist of him, so I don't think he's gonna help a fascist coup. I could be wrong, though. Who knows? He also likes red, so maybe he's a Nazbol, which would be unfortunate. But anyway, let's take a look at some MAGA cope for the holiday season, that it may warm our hearts. Donald Trump tweets, "The Supreme Court really let us down. No wisdom, no courage." Donald Trump apparently has forgotten that he appointed a third of the court. This person responds, "Amy Coney Barrett can now legally be..." Wow! Wow! I can't read that out loud. I can't read that out loud at all. Jesus effing Christ. We're starting off with some hot takes today. I assume you could read that on the screen and I don't have to read that out loud. Jeez. What's this say? And this is a red state, and it's someone with a thing on the back of their car that says Trump's a pussy bitch, F your feelings. This person responds, "If I see this on the road, I'm getting off the bike, putting my fist through the glass, and go up and chat with the driver." Weren't right-wingers mad about destroying property like a few months ago? Now they're not? Or what, is it just when they do it? Do the laws just not apply to them, or I don't know. It's confusing. This person says, "I speak for every true American citizen when I say that the 45th president definitely didn't deserve a first term, and he absolutely doesn't deserve a second term." Response says, 21 years serving my country, you don't speak for me. He deserves a second term, that's why he won." Oh no. Did Gina just get unfrozen like Captain America? Does she not know that the election happened and Trump lost? That's a shame. "I recommend everyone dump nanny Twitter, believe in hashtag freedom of speech, and join Parler. Get the Parler app ASAP and secure a cool screen name." It's promoted. It's an ad. It's an ad that doesn't look like an ad. Interesting. Oh yeah, they did pay for the tweet and only got 1 like. That's a shame. That's a waste of money, but you know, you're gonna do what you're gonna do. This person says, "What if you can't tell the gender of an individual person? Would you just assume? LOL, just a hypothetical question. Nothing serious." Someone responds, "I would assume, then they could correct me, but someone using they, them, or any other that isn't he, her is either seeking attention or has mental health issues." And again, they used the pronoun they in the thing. They used the pronoun they. Stupid. Non-binary people or anyone who uses they, them pronouns. You are valid, by the way. I'm sorry for the chuds. This person says, "If the spineless Republicans don't take a stand with our POTUS, I'll do everything I can to get every one of them voted out. I'll vote blue until every GOP without a backbone is gone. Joe Biden is a piece of poo. It doesn't take a special counsel to see that. Hashtag hell no China Joe." And this was in response to Terrence K. Williams tweeting, "I will never vote Republican again if they let Joe Biden steal the election." Oh no, don't do that. We wouldn't want that, would we, guys? This is the son of Jim Watkins, I believe his name is Jim Watkins, the owner of 8kun, which is the website where Q of QAnon fame posts their Q drops. It's rumored that Jim Watkins and this guy are actually Q. Trump is the role of Carrie for this election. With the help of his support, he powers up and all pieces fall together at the last moment. January 6th will be the crescendo's climax where he unleashes a whole world's worth of fury. Don't miss January 6th. PragerU says, what's scarier to you? A virus with a survivability rate of 99.9% or hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of children? What? Of children being... that word? Oh no, PragerU! Why? Why do you think you can only care about one of those things? We must own the lexicon. Any talk of a Biden administration is sedition. Oh no. The Donald.win. I hope there's an FBI agent just assigned to staring at the Donald.win all day and tracking the IP addresses of all the people who are posting openly seditious stuff. Like, they've been talking about, you know, basically shooting people because they don't like that Biden won the election, so I would hope the FBI has someone visiting their houses, maybe, and being like, hey, no, don't do that. Don't LARP on the internet like you're gonna do something. That's how you get visited by the government. 600 times 328 million equals 196.8 billion. This bill is for 900 billion. Guess who's getting that other 700 billion? This is on the R Conservative subreddit. Guys, you're conservatives. Why are you voting for Republicans if you don't want your money going to corporations? This person on the corner saying it's not over. It's over. Biden did not so-called win it, was a rigged election, angry face, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Untrue. Liberty Hangout, who I might add, whose colors on their logo are taken from, like, the libertarian flag, say, I would be perfectly okay with outlawing the Libertarian Party. Who agrees? Much liberty. Very hangout. Terrence K. Williams, again, that's just the tweet we saw earlier, saying he'll never vote for a Republican again. So that's nice. This person says Biden was installed, not elected. No, he was voted for by most people. Turns out that's how elections are supposed to work. Conservatives go a single day without victimizing yourselves challenge. By choosing not to get vaccinated, we will become illegal aliens in our own country. And then there's 2 water fountains, one for vaccinated and one for not vaccinated. I take great issue with this image because these water fountains are not far enough apart. Gotta get them different rooms if possible. If you're not vaccinated and it's available to you, I don't think I want to be in the same room as you. This person says, take a mental picture of your liberal friends and families. This may be one of the last days before their heads explode into complete oblivion. Their meltdowns will be written about in history books. Again, if Donald Trump somehow installed himself as emperor for life, or installed himself even just as president permanently, yeah, people would be upset, rightfully so, because it would be the end of American democracy, and that's bad, as it turns out. You don't want to live in a despotic state. It's not a fun time. Please thank Trump who made this vaccine available. No. Trump did not make this vaccine available. It was developed in Germany by Turkish immigrants. Fun fact. Here's that map again. Oh, does land vote? And then it's the meme. This is my favorite, like, meme about this, is when you have the kid who doesn't understand that, you know, putting something in a taller glass doesn't mean there's more of it. It's Republicans. Jim Watkins' son, again, says, to everybody DMing me about organizing caravans to DC on January 6th, please put your details into this page so we can keep everything centralized for people to help out easily. If you wanted to put your own information in here, or, I don't know, fake information, you know, information that would complicate matters for them, there's a link. This has got to be a fake post because it's 4chan, but I find it funny nonetheless. I bet $27,000 on Donald Trump winning the election. It was everything I had. I was going to use the winnings to finally get my degree, and now I have nothing. Effing nothing! I'm sitting here crying, and I want to drive as fast as I can into a tree. FML. I don't know if you saw, but Newsmax retracted their stories on, like, Dominion voting machine election fraud because the company who owns Dominion Voting Systems, maybe that's the name of the company, or maybe it's owned by a parent company, I don't remember. They are basically sent a legal cease and desist letter and said, if you don't retract that, we're going to sue you for defamation. Because what Newsmax and One America News Network and these various news organizations who are claiming election fraud based on these machines, based on no evidence, they're doing slander. They're slandering the company. So anyway, they retracted their stories and did a little segment where they're like, hey, there's no evidence that these voting systems were involved in any sort of fraud. And now right-wingers are very mad at Newsmax, even though Newsmax was their best friend like 2 weeks ago. Pot-smoking Patriot says, I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but all mainstream media is trash, including Newsmax. Newsmax is apparently mainstream media now. The owner has been a huge donor to the Clintons. It's all a psyop. They'll make you feel like you're losing your mind. Turn it the F off. Unfortunately, still way too many people need to not just hear this call, but understand it 100%. Too many people here, but don't listen. This person doesn't know the kind of "to" that you should use in these instances. And then this person says, I was hoping Newsmax was gonna be legit. You can also see their profile picture for Twitter is them standing with a cardboard cutout of Donald Trump, which is an interesting personality to have. And by interesting, I mean not good. Fact checkers didn't exist until the truth started to get out. Cool. Let me see if I can get this one to play. I've been having trouble with Twitter videos recently.
Petition the courts, and we ask, Lord, that as it is written in the books of heaven, as it has been ordained in the councils of heaven, that President Donald J. Trump shall be reset and shall be reseated as...
Can I just say I appreciate the somber Casio, I'm sorry, it's a Yamaha keyboard in the background. Like, did he tell him, okay, Tim, I need, ominous, but like somber, just tones, okay? Ba, ba.
The President of the United States of America. You, Lord, will arise and you will cause my President, Donald J. Trump, to be reset and to be reseated. Jesus. Would you grant that it would be done, Lord?
Robert Henderson. Let me see if I can find him. Robert Henderson. Does he have like a YouTube or does he just have like a Twitter? Pastor.
That's right, capitalistic propaganda.
There's an About Us. Usually on About Us or something. Probably a Facebook thing. Might be a Facebook live stream or something. Is there any information on, like, live stream? Must be from the live stream. Oh, you gotta pay? For his live stream? Lame. What he should really do is make that sweet, sweet bit message money. That's where it's at. You let people in for free. You pay them to talk to you. More than 300,000 Trump supporters plan to join virtual second inauguration event on January 20th. That's not pathetic in the least. Those who aren't standing with Trump and his fairness in this election should watch their backs in 3 weeks from now. You'll be on the wrong side of this war. Yes, I just said war. Stand with Trump now before it's too late. See, this is what Republicans should not, like, be playing games with Donald Trump. They need to be telling him, you lost, get over it, or they're gonna get, like, Night of Long Knives, if you know anything about the rise of Nazi Germany. The Night of Long Knives is when Hitler, in order to consolidate power within the Nazi party, basically took anyone who was not loyal to him in the party apparatus and had them killed. So that's why fascism's bad for everyone, by the way. Even if it's your side that's the ones that are doing the fascism. Fascism eats people up like a meat grinder. Doesn't really matter. Liberty Hangout says, the United States has 3 options to choose from. Go the way of the Soviet Union and accept a Biden presidency. Go the way of the Roman Empire and Trump declares himself a monarch to save the nation. Or 3, red states secede and start a new nation. Which shall it be? Honestly, even if it was like a decision between these 3 things, which it's not, this is a false trichotomy? Is that a thing? Is a trichotomy a word? It's like a dichotomy, but with 3. Either way, Biden isn't going to turn the U.S. into the Soviet Union, but let's say in this, like, fictional universe that Liberty Hangout is constructed around themselves, I'd still pick number 1, because I don't want an absolute monarch, and as much as I'm not a big fan of red states because of the policy decisions that get put in place because of them, there are plenty of people in red states, typically like the non-white people living there, who would be treated quite badly if the South seceded yet again. So I think that's a bad idea. I'll go with number 1.
I hope that this message reaches its rightful recipient. Mr. President, my name is Tracy Beans. I am a wife, a mother, and I'm also an investigative journalist. I understand as well as the American people do, and I think I speak for millions of Americans right now, that we understand that you are surrounded by a den of vipers who do not have the best interests of the United States of America at heart, or your best interests at heart either. We are still out here fighting, and we are the ones who matter. We know what happened on November 3rd, and now we just need to look at all these machines and prove it.
This is what I don't get. She says, we know what happened on November 3rd, but we need to look at the machines to prove it. If you don't already have evidence, why do you think you know what happened? You're starting with a conclusion, and now you're frantically searching for evidence that your conclusion is true. That's an ass-backwards way of trying to conduct reasonable ways of investigating the world. Why do you start with the supposition that Donald Trump must have won the election? He's historically unpopular. He never had Even in, like, his first, and presidents typically, like, their first, year or whatever, they have their highest approval ratings right after the election. Donald Trump never got above, like, 46, 47% or something. He certainly never got above 50%. He's not a popular guy. I mean, like, I'm talking as a percentage of the population. The people who are into Trump, and there's a lot of them, are very into Trump. But there are fewer of them than people who hate Donald Trump. It's why he lost this election. It's why he lost the popular vote in 2016. This is the reasonable, like, result of triggering the libs for 4 years. Congrats! The libs were so triggered they all went out to vote against Donald Trump even if they hate Joe Biden. Mission succeeded! Libs successfully triggered.
Are asking, begging you at this point to do everything that you can do in your power to allow us the opportunity to get to the bottom of this fraud before January 6th. What do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. We have been fighting so hard since November 3rd and even before so that the Republic of the United States of America can remain sovereign, that our elections will matter and have integrity. We are still here. We are still fighting. We support and we pray for you, and we know how hard this is. But we are still here, and we are what matters. At the end of the day, I know that every honest American out there really, really agrees that we need to get the bottom of this and the
No. Again, things have already been investigated. That's fine. I'm completely fine with, like, recounts and audits and stuff. Those are, granted to you legally. That's completely fine. Recounts have been done. They actually showed more votes for Biden than the first time. But anyway, recounts were done. Audits have been done. No fraud has been found. Actually, that's not true. I saw 2 cases of voter fraud, and they were both for Donald Trump. So, what are you basing this belief on? Other than your feelings.
Electoral College needs to do the right thing as mandated under the Constitution. You can take that first step and do what you need to do to make sure that that happens. You have nothing to lose except the country. We love you. We support you. This is about much more than just this one election. And as the American people, we beg of you, please do the right thing. And if this one last opportunity doesn't expose the absolute abhorrent nature of the fraud that has befallen this election, at least you will know that you did everything in your power to get to that point. We love you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Melodramatic much? Don't forget, he's the master showman and strategic thinker. The art of the deal is all about war. Keep enemies off balance, appear to be crazy. Let's fight the battle with him, but also be calm and see whose hand is on the Bible at noon on 1/20. Please, let's see. Let's see whose hand will be on the Bible, please. Bernie likes to stir up millennials by telling them, again, do they think millennials are like 12 years old? Millennials are in their 30s. Bernie likes to stir up millennials by telling them that the US is the only major country that doesn't guarantee healthcare to people as a right. He also forgets to mention that we are the #1 country in medical research, innovations, cures, Nobel Prizes, and survival rates. Are you ready for the punchline? Hey guys, I usually don't post stuff like this, but my grandpa underwent surgery, underwent emergency brain surgery, and is going to be way behind on his bills while he recovers. If anyone would like to help my family and I reach this goal for him, we would be forever grateful. GoFundMe.com. People, Republicans and voting against their own self-interest. Name a more iconic duo. Oh boy, this is gonna be a long one.
There's nothing
Why
funny
our
about the
Trump
tools
flag
of
flies in our
capitalism.
yard yet? Magnificent President Trump is having the time of his life. Hard to argue against this. Right now, Trump is sitting on a stack of Trump cards, or maybe Uno Wild
nothing
draw
funny about
4
the tools
more
of
years that he was just waiting to lay down like a royal flush. Excuse me. He has court cases still pending that will go to the Supreme Court, and thanks to Texas case,
nothing
he
funny
now
about
know
the
how
tools
to
of
file it
capitalism.
under Article 3, not 2, that will force them to hear it. That's not how that works. He has the DNI report on Friday. Barr steps down the 23rd,
There's nothing
can now
funny
be a
about the
witness.
tools of
He did his
capitalism.
job. Durham is special counsel, can prosecute in any state. He's letting civil, criminal, federal courts fail to handle the situation properly so he can use
nothing funny
military
about the tools of
tribunals?
capitalism.
That's not how things work. He has the data, all of it from the NSA, the Kraken supercomputer. Oh, is the Kraken a supercomputer now and not the lawsuit Sidney Powell
Nothing funny
filed?
about the tools
That's a
of
goalpost
capitalism.
shift I didn't see coming. Probably a couple others we haven't heard about, too. He has the dueling electors from 7 state legislatures. He has VP Pence's final arbiter on which ballots to
nothing funny
accept.
about the
He
tools
has
of capitalism.
Insurrection Act. He has the NDAA, the National Emergency, the 14th Amendment, the 2018 Executive Order, the 2017 very first Executive Order, the Patriot Act, the FISA
nothing
warrants,
funny about
the
the tools of
declassification of
capitalism.
everything. Man, there's a lot of noise happening. Oh, Phoenix Vengeance, thank you for gifting a bunch of subs. He has people
nothing
sworn
funny about the
affidavits
tools of
by the
capitalism.
1,000. The QR code scan guy who just needs access to some real ballots, and he can detect if they are fake by looking for creases and printing items using his scanner technology.
about the tools of
He has all the
capitalism.
statistical data being analyzed, not the statistical data. He has the videos, emails, phone calls, bank transfer statements showing the coordination of this coup. He has
That's right,
RICO.
capitalistic
As
propaganda.
Legal Eagle says, it's never RICO. He has the Crimes Against Humanity videos. The Crimes Against Humanity videos? Oh god, it keeps going. I thought it was only 2 pages. He has WikiLeaks just dropped a ton, and Assange will be pardoned so he can talk about Seth Rich. Now that the governors and Secretary of State certified and Biden accepted, they committed and knowingly agreed to treason. Solar Winds just raided in Dominion, closing up shop. Same with politicians and media. Dominion isn't closing up shop. Dominion is actively suing people for doing what this person is doing, slandering them. He has the CA servers used to change Dominion machines. He will soon have access to the machines, too. He baited them to stay in D.C. so they can be inaugurated. Oops, arrested. Biden hasn't accepted any transition money, nor has Kamala given up her seat. Kamala hasn't given up her seat for votes, because until January, Congress is still voting on stuff like the stimulus deal that just happened, and again, with the potential, new one that's going to be coming with the 2,000, who knows how that's going to go. That's why. And they're saying that they're baiting them to D.C. to get arrested? What? And they did release money for the Biden transition. I think the Department of Justice or someone stopped doing or took back giving Biden intelligence reports or some bullshit, which is unsafe. That's part of the reason 9/11 happened.
That's right,
Was the
capitalistic
sloppy
propaganda.
transition because of the 2000 bullshit. But either way, what? This is full of falsehoods. The military has infiltrated Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and he has the financials. Wait, Antifa and Black Lives Matter are a part of this? In what way? He knows which politicians took Chinese and Soros money. He put in Miller and Watnick. Who are they? He also just reduced dumb regulations. The dumb ones. Oh, those ones. He wrote an executive order in the military line of succession. He is
There's nothing funny
defunding
about
the
the tools
CA.
of
He
capitalism.
replaced Kissinger and Albright on the National Security Advisory Board with his loyalists. That's not good. If a president's replacing people with loyalists, that's generally considered a bad move. The military has been flying more planes over America. Citation? The Navy just parked huge fleets on both coasts. The 82nd is preparing for an operation, same as group of Flynn and Donahue. Things are falling into place. He has it all. He is just laying out the case, building the narrative. He knows he won and they cheated. He gave them the chance to fix things. They chose not to. Now they all go down, and it's gonna be a temper tantrum unlike any they have had before, because as Biden said a week before the election, they had the best voter fraud system in the world. Again, quoting Biden out of context, the context being he was saying they have the best anti-voter fraud team in the world, but okay. Do you?
Get that thing rolling.
Oh, did you guys see this? At some event Charlie Kirk was at, they had sponsors come and shoot money at the crowd. It was a Turning Point USA thing.
All right.
Checkmate.
Let's go. Put some money in there. Let's go.
This is how we do.
Folks.
This is how we do it. This is how we do it. Unreal. Cartoon Network tells children there are multiple genders. There's only one gender. Depression. Could someone tell me what President Trump has to lose by declaring martial law? The Democrats might say, bad things? If he declares martial law, again, that would be the end of democracy. That's bad, okay? Did you see this Ben Garrison comic where it's Rudy Giuliani and he actually has the sweat? Interesting choice, Ben. Interesting choice.
Who's there? Texas. Texas who? Texas when you're done whining about the next 4 years when the Supreme Court rules in Donald Trump's favor and is inaugurated on January 20th. Trump 2020. Checkmate.
That one's pretty cringe.
The President of the United States of America.
Oh, have you seen this one?
How does it feel to be the President of the United States of America? You don't get the fucking talk in my fucking house. You fuck.
What'd you say to my daughter?
What did you say to me?
Sophie, go upstairs. I don't want you to see this. Go. Go, please. You done touching kids, huh? You done? Tell everyone. Say you're done. Say I'm sorry. Say it. I'm sorry.
So that guy might be getting a visit from the Secret Service. Fun fact, never, ever make threats towards the president. You will get a visit from the Secret Service. Oh, the irony in this one is so, like, they're still acting like liberals or people on the left are, like, mad. Guys, Donald Trump lost. We're not mad. You guys have been nonstop reeing for the past month. Will reality ever hit these people? What is gonna happen? Here's people praying for Trump.
求你保护他，因为他信靠你的名，因为他捍卫你的名，因为他为了你的名承受了3年之久的。是的，主啊，求你为他伸冤。3年的。
啊。MAGA rally in front of Babies R Us, which is convenient for their uses because they are a bunch of babies. This was funny, because people, you know, right-wingers have been like, Donald Trump declare martial law, and Donald Trump tweeted, martial law equals fake news, just more knowingly bad reporting. A bunch of right-wingers were mad about that, because they want Trump to, you know, declare martial law and destroy democracy, but whatever. Whatever. Are there any more videos? Did we watch this one on
chauvinist? And I am a proud Western chauvinist, and I will not be intimidated or bullied by fucking communists!
I think we've seen this stuff, so. That's the MAGA cope for the Christmas season. Buckle up, folks. It's just getting started. January 6th will be a whole new round of ridiculous goalpost shifting when Congress meets and confirms Joe Biden won the election. And then, of course, January 20th, when Biden gets sworn in. It's gonna be interesting. Let's say that. Moving on. I know we got a whole bunch of bit messages, so I gotta go way back and read these, and then we'll move on to the next video. Okay. Amateur Hardest says, inject that cope into my veins. Doom Smoothie says, I've got mad frizzy wavy hair too. I use Mark Anthony coconut shampoo and Maui Moisture Vanilla Bean. Not very expensive, and I'm left with a low amount of frizz. Nice. Tucker White 94 says, Santa does take money from Coca-Cola, so he's probably a capitalist to some extent. I mean, how else does he afford to run a global present delivery operation? Clava Faustna, thank you for subscribing with Prime. Tucker White says, wait, how does COVID-19 connect to child assault? No idea. Tucker White 94, again, wait, I forgot. Who won the election? Let's take a look. Ah, yes, it does appear that Joe Biden won the election. Good to know. Fun fact. Cupcake Chaos, thank you for resubscribing with an 8-month streak. Coming up on a sub baby. I think I'll name it Astano Tin in Spanish. Tucker White says, the liquid in both the beakers have the same volume. Yes, I know how that experiment works. It's covered pretty early on in psych classes. Harry K5 with 20 bits. Hi, Hannah. Those people are just loyal to Trump, not the Republican Party. If he's not on the ballot, they'll just not vote. They make up a significant portion of the Republican Party, and that's significant in close races, such as Georgia runoffs. Hopefully. Casual Snark with 20 bits. Newsmax is mainstream media. Pot-smoking patriot is smoking something besides pot. Tucker White 94 with 20 bits. P.S. Patriot is so close. She almost figured it out. Probably a Lannister with 25 bits. Ah, yes, the truth of Hillary's emails was a big one. Please print. Doom Daleks, thank you for following. Mr. Knight Kingyo. Hannah, the president tweeted something crazy. Did you see it? Oh, God, what did he say now?
That's right, capitalistic
Hold
propaganda.
on. Donald Trump, Twitter. Jesus Christ. Was it just the missile thing? Was it this one that you were talking about? It could just be applying to literally any tweet he does, though, because he's crazy, so. Logarth with 20 bits. Is that all this is to you? Logarth with 20 bits. Seriously, though, I love giving you biddies. Tucker White 94 says, I'd love it if God just showed up at Robert Henderson's church and told him, nah, I'm good with Trump losing. Now everyone give me your money. I have a date tonight with a lady named Donna. Tucker White says, vipers, like Trump isn't one of them. Ghetto Kanya with 20 bits. Trichotomy. Hannah is a grammar queen. Ashyboo74, thank you for gifting a sub. Ashyboo74 says, I don't know what reality she's living in, but it's not this one. Tucker White says, according to 538, Trump was more popular than unpopular in the first 12 days of his presidency, and that wasn't saying much. Okay. Logarth with 20 bits. This woman has a parasocial relationship with Trump. I mean, I think a lot of these people have a parasocial relationship with Trump, addressing him like he's actually going to listen. It is strange. Antiponian Squid of 50 bits, nothing to lose except the country, like Trump cares about the country. Casual Snark, The Art of War is a Chinese book. Trump wouldn't read that, or any other book for that matter. Phoenix Vengeance, thank you for gifting subs. Beerbud W, thank you for following. Tucker White says, so if Trump has Trump cards left, what's he waiting for? Yeah, right? AshyBoo74 with 20 bits. Excuse me. I worked at a polling place. The voters printed their ballots on normal printer paper and filled them out. This is completely ridiculous. Tucker White, after using my QR code to scan the ballots, I conclude that Hannah is not a real person. In fact, she never existed. That's true. I'm a figment of all of your imaginations collectively. Billy SC137, thank you for following and thank you for subscribing. Show Me the Orbs with 69 bits. Wow, that's a lot of extreme action movie stuff for just a transition. Amateur Hardest with 20 bits. Will the Chuds ever accept that their daddy lost? I hope so. Tucker White 94 says, wait, Henry effing Kissinger isn't enough of a loyalist for Trump? Billy SC137 with 20 bits, thank you, says hello everyone. Toten Cult 666, thank you for following. Tucker White 94 says there's only two gender, weebs and femboys. DNB Sleeps with 100 bits. Sure, when they redistribute wealth by shooting it out of a money cannon at a rally, it's cool, but when we want to redistribute wealth by fairly taxing wealthy investor class and corporations, it's socialism. 96 Hudson, thank you for following. Tucker White 94, only degenerate scum use light-themed Twitter. Harry K5 with 20 bits. Hannah's an extremely realistic-looking VTuber, Kappa. If I was a VTuber, I think I'd pick a better model than this. I should have waited to start streaming and just done a VTube. That would have been great. Wouldn't have to worry about how I look ever. Tumek Von Raven, thank you for subscribing with a 3-month streak. Okay, let's see what we're going to do next. John Doyle. This is quick, so let's do this one. Bryson Gray, who is a MAGA rapper who's hip with the kids, for those who aren't in the know, did a rap about how it ain't over yet. This came out on the 16th, and I'm very excited to share it with all of you.
Cheat us, it ain't over yet. New World Order think they beat us, it ain't over yet. Patriots about to fight and it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. We know God win in the end, so it ain't over yet. No, it ain't over yet. No, it ain't over yet. Hey, I'm on the right side, guess I'm stuck in my ways. I'm not pitting on no mask, I am not one of your slaves. Trying to scare me with a virus like we in the last days. I don't need the government, cause I got a Jesus that saves. Hey, God fearing, Bible thumping, not giving up my rights for nothing. God we trust, yeah I trust him. I don't paying anything above him. Keep your globalism, this America, dog. Saying you gon' take our guns, it ain't scaring us, dog. We gonna talk when patriots better beware of us, dog. China sent the China virus cause they want us to fall. And Trump cutting taxes cause he want us to fall. Chill before you had these patriots and government halls. MAGA gang, it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. Democrats, they trying to cheat us, it ain't over yet. New World Order think they beat us, it ain't over yet. Patriots about to fight and it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. We know God win in the end, so it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. It ain't over yet.
My brothers Dracos, we marching on the scene now. Forget what they talking about, America needs a recount. They played us with their voter fraud.
There've been recounts, Biden got more votes.
Yeah, I bet I'm testing that. Strapped up, MAGA, dressed to impress. Got that big 4-5 under my Mitchell and this. Ever seen a million patriots riding for the same cause? Trying to take our freedom, Democrats, yeah, they break laws. We want the smoke, boy, we want the smoke. Trying to make us take vaccines, kill us all with their dope. Only God could judge me, it ain't over yet. Sliding down Pennsylvania Ave, God knows the rest.
MAGA gang, it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. It ain't ain't over yet. Democrats, they trying to cheat us, it ain't over yet. New order think they beat us, it ain't over yet. Actually, it's about to fight and it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. We know God win in the end, so it ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. It ain't over yet.
The funny thing is, like, if this wasn't about, like, MAGA and it was something completely different, the beat's fine. Like, he can rap. It's just, like, really embarrassing that it's about him not accepting the election is over. Bryson should, like, shift over to something else, so he could still have a career, you know? Oh, he's got to make America great again. Santa hat. Okay. Tumak Von Raven, thank you for resubscribing with a 3-month streak. MMO Addicted says, I have a friend who can VTube rig you up with a custom art cheap and on the sly. Nah, it's fine. I'll just be in person. Dr. Moraeus Prodigy, thank you for following. Amateur Hardest says it ain't over yet. Who won the election again? Let me check. Ah, Joe Biden won the election. Fun. Tucker White, Jay-Z, Bryson Gray is not. Seriously, Chemtrail Cowboy is a step up from this. Tumak Von Raven with 200 bits is repeating it ain't over yet 40 times really rap. DBN sleeps with 300 bits. Just trying to use my bits and give some emotes. Tiger White, and it's auto-tuned to boot. Stephen J. Neptune Man says, yes, Democrats started a worldwide pandemic to stop Donald Trump. Makes total sense. Tucker White says, ah, yes, if there's one common theme with rap, it's simping for old white authority. And then Devious Chilster, I don't know, Hannah, he rhymed dog with dog like 3 times in a row and used auto-tune. And then Tucker White, none shall usurp me on the bits chart. Let's do one of these Christmas MGTOW videos. So, I'm not allowed to use the I word on YouTube anymore. Or on Twitch, rather. Which is a little sad, but it's okay. This is a MGTOW channel. Tends to be creepy, so let's see what this guy has to say.
Sandman here. This video is brought to you by a donation from Her Meownificence, Fat Cat, and here's what she has to say. Hi Sandman, I don't know when I'll actually get back to watching your videos again. I had a routine checkup and they found something in my blood. The doctors are trying to find out if it's from a blood transfusion I received as a child. I was called to do a retest at the hospital. Even the people doing the blood test sent a letter to my house for me to do so. I called them because I never got a letter from them before. Everyone keeps telling me not to worry. They have a standard procedure for this. That really explains why everyone is up in arms again and no one can find the files they need. But don't worry, it's probably nothing. This sounds like people hiding something. I'm starting to trust that most people are incompetent no matter what type of degree they have. I'm too angry and upset to pay attention and be scared out of my mind. At this point, I'm starting to wish that I was gullible and stupid. Yes, even I'm shocked at how freaking stubborn I am with regards to finishing this promise of sending you 9 donations with video requests. I'm failing at trying to distract myself. Since I'm probably not going to watch the video, I'd like you to make something on how to deal with the holidays when you're not feeling up to it. Yours truly, Fat Cat. Well, mighty meow meow, thanks for another donation, and hopefully you do end up hearing this and people don't lose their minds when they hear this donation and topic request from you. First of all, I find it ironic that a woman like yourself is having an issue with the holidays. Women generally love holidays and socializing with each other, while they metaphorically neuter all the males in the room and force them to interact with each other, even when they absolutely hate one another.
What? Why is that your takeaway? Why do you automatically assume all men hate each other and are forced to interact with each other? What? How unhealthy are your relationships with other men that you think all men innately hate each other? What?
Think about it this way. All the men at family social gatherings are only there because the women that they're having sex with basically want them there. Quite often they have nothing in common. They don't like each other and they're miserable because they don't have anything to really talk about besides the weather and how angry they are because it's the weekend and they'd rather be at home catching up on their sleep.
Oh my god. It sounds like this guy and all of the men he knows suffer from severe depression and are not getting treatment or something. Interacting with people at Christmas? I'd rather be home sleeping.
So they can get through another horrible week ahead of them at work in the veal fattening pens of the corporate world. No one asks men how to deal with the holidays. Most of us just keep our heads down and hope that the holidays never show up. For men, birthdays, Christmas, special get-togethers, and other reasons to throw a party are absolutely insane. We don't want to celebrate them. But for you ladies, you love your get-togethers with your...
Again, and I'm a trans woman. I can't speak for cis men, but, like, I'm, like, Jake's, one of my closest friends. Jake enjoys get-togethers and parties. We get together and hang out with each other. He hangs out with Alex all the time, and they're both cis dudes.
There's nothing funny
Like,
about
does
the
this
fool
does this guy not have any friends? Does this guy not enjoy interacting with, like, any other people in his family? What?
female
It's
sister.
like he's projecting his own misanthropy on every other man in the world, and that's very unhealthy. He has a very low opinion of men if this is how he thinks men are.
Sisters, because it's one of those rare chances where women get to congregate together. Women enjoy being with each other so they can pretty much play off each other's drama. So long as any woman isn't singled out for too much of that drama, everything seems to be okay. Looks like this year, Fat Cat, they're probably going to be singling you out. For you, Fat Cat, the fact that your health is bad or perceived to be bad means that you'll be the topic of discussion at upcoming family gatherings.
People talk about people they care about.
You probably don't want to be singled out and become self-conscious, so I'd suggest that you pretend to be sick to avoid as many of these family gatherings as possible this year. I know that some of them you have no choice but to attend, but if I were you, I'd be feeling self-conscious, and I would just pretty much get out of there. At my family gatherings, I'm usually the butt of the joke. People feel good using me as a punching bag and shaming me and humiliating me. That's what being a man seems to be all about these days.
What? What are these guys? Now I'm curious if his family genuinely berates him in some incredibly unhealthy way, or if he's just perceiving that because he's like, like this. I feel like this guy's whole view on the world is very, very skewed.
Having other people shame you so you don't go out there and better yourself. But when a woman is shamed, she doesn't actually turn the shame into creative energy. Instead, I find that she eats her way into oblivion and she becomes an emotional basket case, and she has to go out there and use other people as an emotional tampon to make herself feel better.
Wow, wow, wee, wow. That's a lot of really negative stereotypes with no basis in reality. Jeez.
So why don't you do that, Fat Cat? Maybe use your fiance or some other beta male orbiter friend.
When he says emotional tampon, does he just means that, like, women share their feelings with each other? Being healthy?
Out there.
Fellas, is it gay to not hold your emotions in until they tear you apart and make you perceive every social interaction as some sort of horrifying nightmare?
There as punching bags for your problems. In some ways, you're using me as a punching bag as well as the rest of the MGTOW community, and at least you're paying for the privilege. At least that's respectable. That way you can get rid of all the negative emotions you feel before and after you get shamed and mocked by all those other women during the holidays. I believe the only reason you're not feeling up to the holidays this year is because of your health. If that wasn't really an issue, then you'd probably be trying to sop up the holidays with a biscuit. I also know that you actually have your health issues like your scars.
Jesus Christ, I don't like, but I find it funny that this person apparently gave this woman who apparently watches this guy gave him a donation to talk about this video, and he's insulting her. He's like, yeah, if you weren't in the hospital, you'd probably be eating biscuits or something like a woman. Like, what? What are you talking about? They gave you money and you're insulting them because they are a woman? Really? Maybe this will teach that person that they shouldn't be listening to MGTOW people. That'd be good.
I don't know if you're in pain, but I think of pain in a very different way. I actually have chronic pain that comes and goes in my wrist because I get knots around the nerves in my hands, and I have to massage my hands a few times a week for an hour or two, or the pain is unbearable. As a male, if I was following proper male protocol or behavior, then I wouldn't be offering up this information, because as a man, you're never supposed to show weakness and you're supposed to hide your flaws.
That's called toxic masculinity. That's a bad thing. stop adhering to it and be okay with sharing your problems with people. That's healthy. That's incredibly healthy.
Maybe Miss Fat Cat, the next time you have a health issue, you don't tell your family and friends about it. Or at the very least, you don't tell the female family members and only talk to the male ones. That way your secret won't actually go to everyone, and you won't have to deal with the shame of it. Also, don't look at all the negatives of chronic pain. A week ago, I didn't feel any pain in my body for a few days, and it felt kinda weird. I got so used to chronic pain, and when I didn't have it, I felt as though there was something wrong with me. Or that the pain would come out of nowhere and blindside me, so I was hypervigilant as a result. As a woman, you probably have a hard time not sharing your health issues with anyone willing to listen. Why not share with people who are going to keep their mouths shut instead of telling everyone about the situation?
Jesus Christ. He's unironically, like, doing, like, 90s or 80s stand-up routines. Fellas, have you ever noticed that women be gossiping?
I don't know for sure if you're doing that, but I suspect it. I also know that for you ladies, attention is everything. I know that you can't resist telling people about yourself even when it's not the most positive thing. You can't seem to think of the consequences of embarrassing things getting out to all your family members.
How is it embarrassing to have chronic pain issues? That's not embarrassing. You should be able to share, like, how you feel and your problems with other people so you don't have to handle them all on your own. That's incredibly unhealthy emotionally and physically if it's taxing on you to that extent. You should be able to say to people in your life that you care about, hey, here's a problem I'm facing and it's really hard. Because even just the act of, like, sharing that with people can be cathartic. It can make you feel better. Maybe not physically if we're talking about chronic pain, but it can help deal with some of the stress related to dealing with that chronic pain, right? Who just bottles that up inside and pretends that it doesn't exist? That's not healthy.
And getting back to you. Maybe that's what the beta male orbiter thing is all about. They're guys you can use to basically dump your emotions onto like an emotional tampon, just to make sure that information doesn't get back to your social circles.
Again, sharing things, I was right with my guess. He's considering sharing any sort of personal information with someone to be an emotional tampon. That's gonna be a yikes for me, dog.
If a beta male is a loser with no friends and he thinks that if he hovers around long enough, he might actually get some action, he makes the perfect specimen to dump your emotional poop onto, without having to worry about it getting back to you.
Comparing emotions to poop is so emblematic of the problem that MGTOW types have.
Hopefully you're taking some notes, Fat Cat, with your fat paws. As for men, the holidays are something completely different. As a man, I've always found that being alone during the holidays never bothered me. What bothered me instead, when I thought about it, is all the people scaring me by basically asking me about the holidays and if I was going to be alone or not. Also, all those sad films like Trains, Planes, and Automobiles with the man getting left by his wife and having nowhere to go for Christmas. Cue the sad, sad holiday song and sad faces. For men, there's nothing sad about being alone for the holidays.
Did he stop the movie before the movie ended? Because the movie, like, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie, but I think he gets invited to come and spend, you know, the holiday with Steve Martin or whoever.
We want peace and quiet, and given the choice between a lonely Christmas and being surrounded by women that look at you like a
Oh, his wife died? Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a long time, so...
resource battery, and men that actually have nothing in common with you discussing the weather, it's a lot better to be alone. But for women, their instinct is generally not to be alone. Because in the state of nature, the woman that ends up alone gets eaten by the big bad wolf, and she doesn't have the mental ability generally to survive on her own.
You want to run that by me again, Chief?
It's eaten by the big bad wolf, and she doesn't have the mental ability generally to survive on her own.
Cool.
I think that women paint men into a corner in relationships when it comes to Christmas and holidays. Most guys would prefer to be alone, and women know this, so they often shame the guy by playing the fear of loneliness card. Then the guy gets scared of dying alone at Christmas at the age of 80 or some other nonsense like that, and therefore he'd rather hang out with guys he absolutely hates for the rest of his life.
Why do you hate all other men? I'm so confused. So this guy, he thinks, based on this video, he thinks women are stupid, vapid, emotional, you know, frivolous beings that he doesn't care about, and he hates all men. He just hates everyone. I'll jokingly sometimes say, like, oh, I hate everyone, or what, you know, it's a joke. I don't actually hate everyone. If you actually hate every single other person around you, you might have, like, depression or some other thing going on. You probably need to go talk to someone, like a professional, maybe to be medicated, maybe not, but, like, it's unhealthy. Like, it's not healthy to hate absolutely every other human being around you all the time. That's terrible.
Just so he might actually have the ability to have someone there when he gets too old and he's dying. Most guys will tell me, hey Sandman, a woman that's not feeling up to the holidays is pretty much trolling you. If anyone out there thinks that, then you might actually have a point. But you also have to consider that in this particular situation, it's Kobayashi Maru, or a no-win scenario for Fat Cat. You're not feeling...
I can't believe he's, like, citing Star Trek. Like, the most humanistic, positive... like genre fiction series of all time, and meanwhile he's just a big misanthrope who hates everyone. It's very strange.
Up to the holidays, Fat Cat, but you're still expected to go.
He'd probably be Barkley, but not like later Barkley, where like it's like, yay, Barkley, but like early Barkley, where he like spends all his time on the holodeck, and he uses, you know, the holograms to do his power fantasies. This guy's a very Barkley.
Most people, the way they deal with unwanted social situations is to drink or take prescription meds or some other substance to take the edge off. Why do you think that there are actually drinks in Western social gatherings? It's so that people can relax more and become less self-conscious.
I don't know, man. Drinking is a big part of human culture as a whole. It's like food. People, like, at social gatherings, at dinners, they drink. I don't know, it's a thing.
If that's something you have to do, Fat Cat, then why not do it? I've gotten buzzed before when I went out and it got rid of my anxiety. The trick is not to get drunk, otherwise you'll be paying for it later. That's one way to cope while socializing at Christmas, drinking the eggnog. Another way to cope is to go to multiple people's homes for the holidays in the same day. That way, by the time you feel like you've settled in, it's time to leave, and that gives your would-be enemies less time to figure out how they're going to insult you in sneaky ways.
Your would-be enemies? He's talking about friends and family at the holidays. And I understand sometimes, like around the holidays, depending on your family situation, there are going to be people who are assholes, or especially in this community, we have a lot of like LGBTQ plus representation, so I understand that there can be like familial conflict due to some people not being tolerant. I understand that. But he's not. He's like a straight cis guy, so he just hates everyone around him at all times. That's so unhealthy.
Other ways to deal with the holidays when...
The saying goes something along the lines of, if you smell poop, you know, once a day, whatever, but if you smell poop everywhere all day, maybe check your own shoe. The idea being, like, if you run into one asshole today, they're an asshole. If you run into nothing but assholes all day, every day, you're the asshole. I think this guy needs to self-reflect a little bit on why he hates everyone so much. Maybe it's not them.
You don't really want to, is to take a vacation during them. For example, take a vacation for Christmas and New Year's. That means you won't be saying hello to people and going from house to house during the holidays, and instead you'll be in some nice relaxing place away from your family and friends, where you won't actually have to deal with their emotional waste. A place where you won't have to deal with their anxiety because it's literally a world away. People always criticize me and say, you shouldn't travel alone and vacation alone. Ironically, I don't get any mental or physical rest when I travel. Instead, I get psychological rest and peace of mind because I don't have to deal with anyone.
That's mental rest. Psychological is a synonym for mental.
I can sit in my car for 5 or 6 hours a day and watch the world go by, with my favorite music and beautiful mountains, lakes, and deserts going by, and yet people tell me to travel with the girlfriend in my car. So I can do what? Lose my peace of mind. Fat Cat, why don't you get your beta male fiancé to take you away someplace? For women traveling with someone, especially a guy...
He just called her fiancé a beta male? Thanks for the money, now let me insult your boyfriend or fiancé. He's a beta male.
Puts them at ease and reassures them. So why not get some reassurance while you leave the gossiping back at home? If you're embarrassed about spending time during the holidays with people that are going to mock you and shame you, then go on a vacation during that time, and it makes them jealous instead, and they'll pretty much be envying you. The best
its advice is to people are being mean to you. Fuck them. Go on vacation and make them jealous.
way to get back at people is to live a good life. You're in Europe, Fat Cat, so why don't you head over to Ibiza and hook up with the Venga boys, or get your taco down to Morocco and enjoy their beaches. If the holidays really bother you that much, why not just plan your vacation away for Christmas and New Year's each and every single year? You won't believe how many people I know that head down to New York for Christmas or New Year's to get away from people here in Toronto. Maybe you can bring your taco from Morocco and meet Sandman in his Big Apple in New York. It looks like you don't have to be alone for Christmas after all. You can be the cat lady of Central Park and I can pretend to be Kevin from Home Alone 2. But I'm sure that film is way before your time. Other things you can do to make the holidays go better is to invite people to your place and do some amazing decorating beforehand or prepare some awesome food. If you can't do that, then have it catered and watch as everyone stops talking about your flaws and starts talking about the awesome food that you're serving. People can't hate you when you actually serve them good food. It's a subconscious reaction. If they associate delicious munchies with you, then they'll forget about all the negative things that they think are actually happening to you. Serve up a fancy feast, Fat Cat, and bribe their hearts with brie. That's what I would be doing. I'd be putting on my chef's hat and serving up some kibbles and bits for the bitchy women that tried putting me down. I don't get jealous, but apparently other people do. I don't want what other people have. I want something that I can call my own. But people want what others have, and if you can make what you have something juicy, then they'll envy you and basically hate you. And you know all about that, Fat Cat, because you're a woman. Anyways, that's all I've got to say for today. Thanks again, Mighty Meow Meow, for your wonderful holiday season topic. Don't forget to smash the like button the way that you smash the self-esteem of beta male orbiters. Bang the bell and check out the MGTOW mystery link. Follow me on Twitter or like me on Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Subscribe to me on minds.com.
Oh, this guy's the worst. How pathetic. Oh, he just... okay. When was this? Oh god, that video's from... This video's from 2017. This one's from 2013. This one's from 2017. Oh no. It's the same... Is it all the same guy? Oh god. What's this Christmas video?
Sandman here. This week in Toronto, Canada, the city I live in, we had a terrible ice storm. I was without electricity for almost 2 days. And there are still over 300,000 people without power as I record this video, mostly in the eastern part of the city. The trees all over town became frozen from freezing rain, and many of them came crashing down due to the ice covering them, and subsequently took out thousands of electric wires across town. The day after the storm, there were almost no women to be seen anywhere, except perhaps in the shopping malls, trying to finish their Christmas shopping.
Women be shopping again with the like 80s, 90s comedy routines. What?
Only a few shopping malls had power, by the way. Everywhere I looked, I could see men out and about, shoveling snow, cleaning ice off their car windows, and cleaning fallen branches off the road. But where were the women? With no power, they were inside by candlelight, like they had once done in centuries past. For the first time in years, all those useless candles and candle holders that women stash everywhere around the house had a purpose.
Holy fuck! Really? He has a vendetta against candles too?
And there were many cold, shivering women gathering around them.
And the funny thing is too, he's even admitting like the candles were useful, the power went out and we needed the candles, and he's still denigrating women for buying the candles. What the fuck?
The only woman I managed to find outside in the freezing cold was this ice-covered mermaid statue. It was sad to see women standing by the windows looking inside, like this one, only to see their husbands and mostly male children cleaning the frozen wasteland. They were all waiting for the eventual restoration of power so they could go back to gossiping on Facebook. Notice how the woman in this window felt shame when I took this video and decided to hide from my prying eyes.
Or maybe she doesn't want you filming her house, you creep!
I explored my neighborhood a little bit more on Sunday and saw only boys skating around on this outdoor hockey rink. Usually it's a mix of boys and girls. But without the electricity, the building providing heat and hot chocolate wasn't functioning, and this was the effect. There were no women to be seen anywhere. The day after the power went out, there were no women anywhere on my street. They couldn't make their presence known to anyone in the outside world. They couldn't turn on the lights to their giant mansions to show off to the neighbors across the street.
What? You're showing, like, suburban middle-class homes. What do you mean, mansions?
There weren't even the usual ladies that I saw on a regular basis walking their dogs. I spent most of the day driving around enjoying the Christmas season and only saw women in cars on the major roads. With the electric grid gone and weather approaching minus 10 to 20 degrees Celsius or 14 to minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit, all public spaces became effectively male space because women couldn't deal with the plummeting temperatures. There were other guys out and about with great smiles taking pictures of downed tree branches. Some men brought out chainsaws and started cleaning the roads by cutting fallen trees away. Luckily for me, I have a generator, and it provided enough power for everything except the oven. I have portable propane lights and stoves just in case my generator and gas lines into the house went down as well. The only thing I didn't have was the internet, which I need to communicate with mostly my female clientele. So I got to enjoy the day off without women.
Do his clients know he's a shitbag?
Badgering me at home or work or whatever you call it.
I wonder what he does for a living.
I work as a freelance photographer, videographer / web designer, so I'm constantly being bombarded by women demanding I finish work for them immediately. They don't...
All these clients want me to do the thing they paid for. Those bitches.
Don't have the common courtesy to understand that they are just one of dozens of my clients. And I've learned to charge per hour instead of per job, because after many jobs, they become satisfied only to return a few days later and demand free changes to the work that I've already done. When I tell them it's per hour, they bitch and complain and demand that I charge them a flat fee. That's going to be the topic of another one of my video blogs in the future called Working with Women. Anyways, in the future, I hope that we have a real and severe prolonged energy crisis, because I know it will force women to depend on men. Since most women will probably be single thanks to feminism, men will be able to charge independent women whatever it takes to provide the necessities of life, and women will gladly pay it, because if they don't, they'll have to suffer through hard times, and many of them don't understand the idea of delayed gratification. They will probably spend all of their money on the basics of survival and won't have any money left over for much else. And since men will be providing the basics to them, men will be the ones that have the surplus wealth to spend on the few consumer items available for purchase.
He's like, okay, the power went out for like a week and he's having weird, like, frozen Mad Max fantasies of buying women with his labor. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with him? Oh.
It's days like today that I realize that a harsher and lower energy future will be better for men in some ways.
As you established, women have all the candles, so get your light somewhere.
We will rule the built world, and it's amazing to see how a total loss of electricity and heating affects most women. They get scared and paralyzed and won't leave the house. It's almost like a deer in headlights. And their only course of action is to get their agents / husbands to go out and provide the basics of survival. Without access to modern communications, a woman's world becomes much smaller, and their ability to leash men with cell phones is greatly diminished. Men can continue to go out and communicate with each other without fear, but in a harsher world, women feel the need to have a man there with them for protection at all times from other men. I enjoyed my Sunday as Christmas came early this year, and my present was a day without women. I couldn't see their faces as the power was out in their homes, but I knew that they could hear my generator from many blocks away. And I was the only one in my neighborhood that had one. Most women would probably rather spend $1,000 on shoes than buy a generator for times of need. Even if they had a generator,
women like shoes. What biting social commentary.
How many of them could pick it up and move it without the aid of male help. It's times like these that I'm glad to be born a man. It's also times like these that I'm reminded in how much of a consumer culture we live. But from my experience, women will never change. I'll leave you today with an observation I made while looking at a traditional nativity scene. I know some of you might find it offensive, but now that I'm a MGTOW, I see everything in a new light. The birth of Jesus is a fascinating socio-economic story. If we translate it for today's society, then God the Father represents an absent alpha male, and Joseph, the father figure of Jesus, is a beta provider. And the three wise kings that provide assistance to Christ during his birth can be seen as the state coming to help provide for the child.
He's unironically doing the God cucked Joseph bit. Oh no! Ah!
So the story of Christmas tells us that if a beta male isn't capable of providing for children that aren't even his own, in this case belonging to God the Father, then the state will come to the assistance of the child by sending him gold, frankincense, and myrrh. In this particular relationship, God is the alpha, Joseph is the beta. Mary gets all the attention from 4 men and a God. Anyway, I'll leave you with the sound of my generator humming in the background, with the dark street all around me, as the neighbors watch in disgust as I light my Christmas tree into the black of night. Enjoy your Christmas, and think good thoughts for Joseph, the beta male provider of Jesus. And don't hate me for taunting my female neighbors with my Christmas tree. Cheers.
Oh my god, that's so annoying. I can't believe this is a real person. How is this a real person? Ugh. There's one more. It's Creepy Christmas.
Hi everyone, Sane Man here. This video was brought to you by a donation from Mr. Anonymous, and here's what he has to say. Hi Sandman, please keep me anonymous. First, could you actually give out a shout out to Face and LMS YouTube? It's your new favorite channel, LOL. As for this video, I have 2 topics, so pick which one interests you. First, for the holidays, you could give your thoughts on Baby It's Cold Outside. That song gave Sarkeesian a stroke and cardiac arrest all at once. The second one is called...
This video's from 2017, and he's talking like Anita Sarkeesian like it's 2011.
Purity balls. The second topic is purity balls. It's like putting a kid in a candy store. They can promise till yesterday that they won't eat the candy, but of course they will. With that kind of temptation, they set them up for failure. They force them to promise something just to inevitably be let down. Cheers. Well, Mr. Anonymous, thanks for the donation, and I hope the wait was worth it, because now I've slotted you in for Christmas. The first link in the description is to the revised version of that Baby It's Cold Outside song. The song was first written back in 1944, and apparently it needs to be remade with a social justice spin.
That's right,
So I went online and found a wonderful politically correct version of it. This revised version of the original is about a woman that goes over to a guy's house and changes her mind about spending the night with him. So instead she decides that it's time to leave. The opening lyrics to this version are as follows, and I quote, "I really can't stay, baby, I'm fine with that. I've got to go away, baby, I'm cool with that," unquote. And it's recorded by none other than the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, or should I just rename it to the Cuck Broadcasting Corporation instead, because it's the official government-sponsored, taxpayer-funded broadcasting network here in Canada. The male songwriter and singer Jose Leminski looks like he's a beta male that's been rejected while singing this song, and baby, he's fine with that. The song continues, and I quote, "This evening has been so very nice, I hope you get home safe," unquote. So you can see that our little buddy singing this song here doesn't understand that he's been either rejected or possibly been put in the friend zone.
Okay, oh, I can't believe I'm fucking talking about this. Or, how about this? He respects the bodily autonomy of someone else, and when they want to leave, they say, okay, that's fine, because it is. What the fuck?
If he was worth keeping around, she would have stayed with him and spent the night, just to make sure that he knew that she was interested in him. But alas, she's heading home. By saying it's been very nice, she's lying, and what she really means is that he's a nice guy and not worth being around. You can see that look of disappointment in the eyes of Lydia, the singer-songwriter. She continues by singing that her mother will worry if she stays out, and he responds by telling her to call her mother. Her father will also be pissing on the floor, apparently. But since when do women care about what their parents think? Many of them actually have one-night stands in guys' apartments that they've just met. She wants to leave, but she just wishes that she knew how to break his spell. Actually, if she was under his spell, she wouldn't be going anywhere. Instead, she's more worried if she's going to take the front door or back door to his house because she's worried about what the neighbors might think. The song ends with a sort of donation request at the end for the Violence Center in Minnesota. It says that if you buy this song anywhere online, a portion of that money will be donated to the said charity. As for the male singer in this particular version, at the end you realize that he's most likely been friend-zoned, because apparently they're going to the Cheesecake Factory together and are watching Breaking Bad again. All this insanity could have been averted if she called her mother and told her that she wanted to stay at his place because there's too much snow and it's just too damn cold outside. Someone should make a version where she leaves home and gets into a car accident and falls into a frozen lake or something.
So because this fictional character in a song doesn't want to stay at this dude's house, and the fictional dude is also okay with that, she deserves to die by falling into a frozen lake. Why is the bar on my expectations for these people? There's no bottom. There's no bottom to the absolute ridiculousness of these individuals.
Oh, love.
Maybe Santa could
Give yourself some credit. You're a bottom.
come to the rescue or something, and she could ride with him all the way to the tip of his North Pole workshop. This song is cringy, and there's even a line where she sings, "I have to say no, no, no," and he responds singing back by saying, "You reserve the right to say no." The whole thing is painful to listen to, and I'm surprised that the CBC kept the thumbs up and thumbs down options available on this video, because you can clearly see that more people hated it. This song just shows me how little creativity and imagination feminists and social justice warriors have these days. Instead of creating their own competing culture, which seems like an impossible task, they're simply hijacking the existing culture and playing 1984 with it, replacing or erasing the words that trigger them and make them wail out with autistic screeches. We saw the same thing recently with Star Wars as well as Star Trek, and now we're starting to see it with women not only writing their own songs, but instead going out of their way to pervert and taint what's already there, so that men can no longer be interested in it. Women are destroying the stories and cultural content that men value and enjoy, because it's almost as if they actually have a problem with guys loving something more than they actually love women.
Oh
Maybe
my
women are
God.
figuring out that men are going their own way.
Everything's about me, me, me. Every single thing that happens is about me.
So they want to destroy all the places men can go their own way and feel safe in. In one sense, they're eliminating the beta man's ability to hit on women and simultaneously eliminating the pleasures that such men find in the escapes they have. It's almost as if they're trying to punish men when they hit on them if they aren't the right type of man, while at the same time destroying the culture those men have as an outlet. Now I'm going to move on to creepy Christmas songs. The second link in the description is called Top 5 Creepy Christmas Songs, and it's a video by Anita Sarkeesian where she cuts up 5 of the most offensive and supposedly misogynistic Christmas songs out there. So without further ado, here's number 5. Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. But Anita says that it's just the tired all I need is a man myth. She says that this Mariah Carey song is about finding Mr. Right. But to me, Anita looks ugly and plain, even while wearing makeup. She can't find Mr. Right because he doesn't want her. So
yeah, okay. 2.5 MGTOW Christmas videos is my limit. I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out of this segment. Ugh. So that's the MGTOW Christmas stuff for this episode, okay? Nope. This guy's trash. This guy is absolute trash.
Yeah.
Moving on. Let me read some, Let me read some, bits messages, and then we'll move on. Mitchell Drummer, hey Hannah, I love the Rainbow Satan shirt. I want it. Yeah, it's pretty good. Mitchell Drummer, oh my god, is this the guy who ends every question with an inflection? I assume you mean every sentence with an inflection that sounds like a question? Yes. Tucker White 94, wait, I thought this was a MGTOW song. This is just a boring MGTOW story. To Mock Von Raven, thank you for gifting more subs. Harry K5 says, you can say those words, you just can't harass people with them. As far as I can interpret the TOS, it's a stupid addition to the TOS, but it's there nonetheless. I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna try and not say it at all. Devious Chillster with 20 bits, fellas, is it gay to have friends? Dr. Gamble with 20 bits, 2 seconds in. It's your fault, and no, I'm not going to answer your questions or anything.
If the friends are women, then yes, it's gay.
Koro Namje, thank you for subscribing with Prime. Casual Snark, is this really a guy? He didn't even mention sports in his men-hating holidays rant. Midori Ogden with 20 bits, most parties I go to is mostly men. This guy sounds very lonely and sad. Tucker White 94, to be fair, I also have a low opinion of men and women and humans in general. Stephen J. Neptune Man with 20 bits, do MGTOWs just hate people in general? It seems like it. Innsmouth Swim Team with 50 bits. This chud thinks that empathy and basic decency are signs of weakness. Enreath, at my family gatherings, I'm the butt of the joke. Wonder why, dude. Devious Chillster, we expect nothing, and yet you still yikes. Harry K5, MGTOW, aka, I'm an asshole to women, but I can't or won't look in the mirror, so I blame women for why I can't get a date. Enreath with 50 bits. Hannah, when are you going to start berating us for bits messages? Never. Ashyboo74 with 20 bits. I have frequent lower back pain due to HEDS. It's so cringe.
Hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome?
Stephen J. Neptune Man of 20 bits. So MGTOW is a bunch of guys who took an episode of Def Comedy Jam seriously. Basically. Amateur Hardest with 20 bits. Did this guy consider that him being a jackass is why people don't want to be around him? Probably not. Self-reflection is not MGTOW's strong suit. Probably a Lannister with 25 bits. Would be enemies. F, my grandma is kind of bitchy, but she doesn't stab me in my sleep. Amateur Hardest. Or no. Stephen J. Neptune Man with 20 bits. This dude to this woman. Thank you. F you. Bye. Tucker White 94. Wait, I thought the women's be shopping, yo, so how'd they be sitting in their houses with candles? The Creeping Darkness with 20 bits. MGTOW guy sounds vaguely similar to Will Wheaton. Oh no. Casual Snark with 20 bits. Well, Hannah, the candles were giving women more pleasure than this jackass. Innsmouth Swim Team with 25 bits. If you have fem boobs, you recoil from the COVID like a cat hisses at a vacuum cleaner. What? Captain Rose, thank you for 100 bits. Captain Rose with 20 bits. God damn you, Hannah, I'm putting a curse on you so that you become a communist. Righto. Tucker White 94 with 20 bits. These 3 MGTOW videos belong in the Chud Watch Hall of Shame. I don't know if they're... I've seen worse from him. They're just holiday related, which makes it funnier. Ashyboo74 with 20 bits. I'm home with my family and I asked my dad if he knew about MGTOW and his disgusted face said, it all lull. He said, at least they're removing themselves from the gene pool. CA Corner with 20 bits. Does he not see how telling it was when he said men to protect them from other men? Yeah, I don't think so. Stone Corbell. This guy gets all of his knowledge from women from 90s sitcoms and rom-coms. Tucker White. Hannah, it just occurred to me that you and Baja are both women's, thus you're both effed when the power goes out. The MGTOW showed me the light, or some dumb stuff like that. Mr. Sir Knight Kingyo with 20 bits. Has he ever heard of female soldiers, police, or doctors? He's legit a dry bone. Mickey Pike with $1. Beta. DBN sleeps. Does he not know about sneakerheads? Like, stupid expensive shoes are a hobby for people of all genders. And I know plenty of non-femme folks who would and do spend thousands on video game systems or clothes or any number of frivolous items on than a generator. Yeah, he's just sexist.
1 second. By the way, chat, in case anybody here didn't know, I actually have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Solomon52, thank you for resubscribing with a 2-month streak. Sarpusk, thank you for following. Mitchell Drummer, Hall of Shame, Hall of Shame. No, I don't think it goes in the Hall of Shame. KR Goss says, as a student of the 40s, my favorite historical era, the song isn't actually about assault nor respecting her, even though it sounds like that to us in modern times. Women weren't allowed to do certain things without asking several times or drink alone with a man. She's justifying her want to herself in the song in 40s slang. However, nowadays it's very different. Bardlock Moses, 300 bits. So we start watching this guy after Twitch bans the word. Yeah, and then the word. Nikki Pike with 300 bits. Happy Crimbus Hannah. Captain Rose with 33 bits. Milk the cat. Milk that cat. What? Arbiter Argent, thank you for subscribing. Catmaster Zach with 100 bits, thanks Hannah. I'm feeling very festive after all of that. Meaty52, to be honest, MGTOW probably hate themselves most of all. I think that's probably true. And then Xenobee with 20 bits. What does Chud stand for? Google says cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller, but it feels like it has some more precise connotation in this context. I think it's that. Because it's based off the movie, Chud.
Hannah really wants to mess up my fishtail braid I just did.
Mm-hmm. Devious Chillster with 20 bits. I literally just came out of the hospital because my acute complex 1 deficiency disorder acted up again and is ruining my body, and yet I can still get dates. The hell is this guy on about beta males? It's ridiculous, yeah. PragerU Raw 666, thank you for following. We're all caught up. That was a lot of bits messages. Cleanse video, 500-pound gingerbread replica of Winchester Mystery House from the mind of Christine McConnell. Let me see. 16 minutes? I'm not watching a 16-minute long cleanse. I do not have the time for that, but we can look at the result. Where is the final... Wow. That's impressive. I don't know if that music is copyrighted, so I'm going to mute it. It's an impressive gingerbread house. It's cool that they, like, lit it up, too, with, like, LEDs or something. The Winchester house is interesting, if you know anything about it. The widow of the person who, like, invented the Winchester rifle thought that the ghosts of all the people who were killed by the Winchester rifle were haunting her. So she built a house with a bunch of dead ends and stuff and staircases that go nowhere to confuse the ghosts. It's very interesting. Okay, it's that time. This video is 36 minutes long. We're already almost 2 hours in, and I have D&D later, so I don't think we have time to go through the entirety of this John Doyle video today, unfortunately. Should we just skip it and do it in full another day, or should we try and get as far as we can? What do you think? C Beltway 007, thank you for subscribing with a 2-month streak. Do some of it.
Watch John Doyle, Hannah. Don't be a coward.
Okay, we'll do it. Don't know how far into it we're gonna get, but honestly, he's not even wearing the suit or the MAGA hat today. It's just on the table, so I feel like he's phoning it in anyway. So we'll see how it is.
I think it's time for us to talk transparently about our situation going forward, especially as it pertains to things like gun policy and gun control. And since we'll be talking about guns and the state of Western masculinity, I want to clarify that I condemn and disavow all violence. That being said, my position, I do want to say, on President Trump hasn't changed at all. I still stand by what I said with the MAGA hat will never come off. But that was, of course, to serve as a symbol for the fact that we aren't giving up on President Trump. It doesn't literally mean that you can't take the hat off. So I'm just going to have it there on the desk because it's my birthday, which means I can wear whatever I want. No suit today. We're going casual Tuesday mode. And it also means that you have to listen all the way.
John Doyle can now drink the alcohol. He's 21 years old. Do we stream D&D? We do, over on Actual Jake's channel.
Through, because it's my birthday, which means that everyone has to be super nice to me. Plus, I can assure you that this is going to be one of the most insightful and intelligent videos that you've ever seen as it pertains to the state of gun control in America, the state of masculinity in America, etc. This is seriously going to be important for you to understand exactly what's going on in our country, why it's happening, how we can fix it, and what's going to happen if we don't fix it. And this video is about to blow your freaking mind. All the necessary components are there, which are just that I'm caffeinated out of my mind right now. It's 2 a.m. Let's do this. Do stay tuned. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Heck Off Commie. I know what you're thinking. I know. It's going to be hard to just dive right in because everyone wants to tell me how intelligent and handsome I am. Everyone wants to know what to get me for my birthday. Just get a membership over at heckoffcomedy.com. That's the best thing because then I can keep doing this, and I love doing this, which is why I'm here today. And I know that you will eventually, because eventually you will realize the importance of this. It's only a matter of time. But I will say that if you do it now, you'll have the opportunity to get the free and official HOC Christmas card. And if you're a high IQ member, you will have the opportunity to get the 2020 HOC Christmas sweater. And it's all very epic. And I already know that you will because this video is going to end up being so important to you and to so many others that you'll have no
luring in boomers with a gun control
choice but to support the channel. But in all seriousness, it is important that you watch this all the way through because it is incredibly important subject matter. And also, given how utterly caffeinated I am, I can't promise that it's going to be concise. I'm going to tie it all together in the end, but I'm probably going to jump around a little bit here. I told someone one time because I think that I always do really good work when I'm highly caffeinated. But I told them, I was like, yeah, whenever I'm on camera, I'm usually just coked out of my effing mind. And they believed me. But no, we went to Big B Coffee, making the best of Michigan before we go Texas mode. We ended up getting 2 24-ounce coffees because I think this is really important stuff, and I want to make sure that we do a good job talking about it. So basically, we're going to start with gun control, specifically Joe Biden's plans for gun control if and when he takes power. And again, I don't know what's going to happen there, but I think that this is important to discuss regardless, and we're going to get into how this is all related to men and masculinity and power and how the abuse of all of those has basically damned our country. But I want to first start with a story that I think serves as a nice introduction to a lot of what we're going to be talking about right now. So basically, it goes like this. A couple months ago, one of my buddies was on the highway headed to the required class to get your CPL, which is a concealed pistol license for those unfamiliar. So part of the class is actually shooting pistols at targets, practicing different drills, mechanics, etc. So they ask that you bring a pistol and about 100 rounds of ammunition for it. So this guy got one of his pistols that was legally registered to him and through a private sale, which is how you get pistols in Michigan. If you're under 21, you get a purchase permit from your local police department. They do the background check there. And then once you complete the deal with the person, you bring it back to them and they update the registration for that pistol in their system. And then you've got 10 days to bring it back to them after the transaction or else it's a misdemeanor. So anyways, Michigan state law says that if you don't have a CPL, you can only transport a pistol in your car if you're going to a place that directly pertains to the pistol, like a range or a gunsmith, a gun show, something like that, or public or private land where you're allowed to use guns, police department, or if you're moving things from your home or business to another home or business. Other than that, you can't really transport your pistol in your vehicle. You can't take it to your buddy's house to show him. You can't really do much else with it. That's the law. And then, even if you are transporting it to one of those places that we mentioned, you have to have the pistol unloaded and separate from its ammunition and then in a locked case in the trunk of the car. So this guy's not that smart. So guess what he does? He puts his pistol in the case with the magazine inserted, around chambered, and it's in the back seat of his car.
Brilliant, responsible gun ownership.
It gets worse. He then proceeds to speed pretty significantly on the way to the class, and it gets worse yet again, because not only is he speeding, he's on his phone, changing songs, texting people, whatever, so he doesn't see the state trooper on the side of the road up ahead, and by the time he does, it's too late. And so the cop clocks him, goes after him. By now he knows he's screwed because he's smart enough to know the laws, but he's also anti-government enough to think that they're stupid. I think we can all, sympathize with that to a certain extent. But anyways, he knows that the cop is going to see the pistol in the back seat, and he figures that it's better to just declare it up front rather than have the cop find it and get mad that he didn't declare it. And so, some of you might disagree with that approach, but regardless, he tells the cop about the pistol.
Does anyone find it weird that John recognizes that some of his audience would be in favor of lying to the police? Aren't these the same people that, when a black person gets murdered by the police, it's like, why didn't you just do what they said and follow the law? He's openly admitting that some of his audience would be okay with lying to the police about having a firearm in the car where it's not supposed to be.
There's nothing funny about the tools of
just pointing that out.
That he's on his way to the class, etc. So the cop takes the pistol, goes back to the car for about 20 minutes. So he's sitting there. He's anxious. He knows that it is literally a possibility at this point that he gets arrested for felony weapons charges on the way to his CPL class. Cop comes back, says, open your trunk. So he does. The cop puts the pistol in the trunk, comes back over and says, don't try to fight this ticket because I'm giving you a break on the gun. That's a felony, right? And he's like, yes, sir. I apologize. Thank you so much, sir. I'm sorry for the inconvenience and for wasting your time. And the cop says, yeah, you're welcome. Drive safe. And that's the end of it. So initial takeaway, that kid got pretty damn lucky that the cop was so cool. His life and future with firearms could have been seriously debilitated if that cop decided such was the appropriate course of action, but he came out okay.
So John recognizes that this cop, just depending on the cop's mood, could have destroyed this kid's life, But he doesn't self-reflect on that for even a second in terms of his relationship with the police and how he feels about police as a whole. Interesting.
I probably thought, okay, here's this punk kid. He was polite. He immediately declared the firearm. He knows he could be screwed. He's about to learn everything in this class. Probably not exactly a danger to society. He's probably too freaked out to ever do it again. So, you know, it's probably not really worth throwing the book at this kid for this. So the cop made a judgment call. And I think that was the right call to make. So is this kid lucky? Yeah. Is the cop a pretty cool guy? Yeah. I want to go a little bit deeper with that, though, because I hear that story. My first instinct is, wow, you got lucky. You're an idiot. And that's definitely pretty accurate. And then I think, wow, that cop was a really cool guy, which I think is also pretty accurate. But let's talk about the system that the officer was serving, because that system can still be bad, even if the officer was a cool guy in that particular circumstance.
Oh, good. He is going to recognize this. Is he going to go ACAB, but because cops enforce gun laws? ACAB because cops enforce gun laws? Interesting take.
And a lot of times people think that just because I don't like libertarians, that I'm like this big authoritarian, big government type. I'm actually pretty radically anti-government on a lot of things, especially things like this. So let me tell you another way that I interpret this story. This kid enthusiastically thanked this police officer for only fining him a couple $100 for moving too fast at about 8 in the morning on empty taxpayer-funded roads, and not additionally charging him with a literal felony for carrying his property in the incorrect location of his other property. Get what I'm saying? Like, should we...
John Doyle, sovereign citizen in the making.
Really reward someone for choosing to basically not be the biggest dick that the system enables them to be? Like, wow, officer, thank you so much for fining me for moving too fast for your liking on this empty road, and for not also arresting me and charging me with a felony because my property was a few feet away from where it should have been within my other property.
John Doyle, what happened to being the party of law and order? Is it only law and order when black people are getting murdered by the police, and it's not when you're getting a ticket for texting and driving with a loaded weapon in your car, which is a felony in Michigan?
Thank you for protecting and serving me, officer. Do you want to have sex with my wife? I backed the blue. And this isn't to say that cops...
So now if you back the blue, you're a cuck. Interesting.
They're bad people. This is just to say that we have a tendency, you know, to shower police officers with praise for simply not screwing us over as much as they could, given how unjust the system is, particularly with something like this. It reminds me of the concept of slave morality. Like, was it a smart move to thank the officer? Yeah, it's always the best move to be polite, to cooperate, and I think that this officer is probably a generally good dude, but what I'm trying to say is that we cannot allow ourselves to celebrate the best case scenarios of a system that is fundamentally against us and against our God-given rights, and that exists as the enforcement for a state that effectively hates us and wants to rob us of our way of life. That
he just defined... John! You basically just outlined why Black Lives Matter are mad at the police. You just succinctly defined why Black Lives Matter doesn't like the police.
That's my point. The fact that if the cop weren't so understanding, this kid would have basically been totally screwed because the pistol wasn't in the place that the state says that it has to be, and it wasn't stored in the way that the state says that it has to be stored. And this is why it reminded me of the concept of slave morality, which is attributed to Nietzsche, who was a German philosopher for those unfamiliar. And the idea of slave morality is basically that you are rationalizing your position as a slave to be a virtue. You exist as a slave. You don't exist in a position of power. And you are rationalizing that to be a virtue by emphasizing things like obedience, patience, humility, or even weakness and pacifism. The idea that victimhood is something to aspire to, that there's something noble about victimhood, that's all slave morality. The idea that it is good to be humble and patient and obedient when the officer contemplates whether to charge us with a felony because we didn't transport our property within our other property in the correct manner as defined by the state. And, you know, maybe you don't agree with that specific example. Again, we're not saying the cop is a bad person, but the point is to illustrate the reality of the system that we live in and its effects on us and whether it's really serving our interests. But more broadly speaking, with our explanation of slave morality.
Tucker says bingo. Tucker, weren't you caught yesterday refreshing bingo cards for Tinfoil Tuesday? I think you get a suspension from bingo eligibility for at least a month. Because as far as I understand, I was told you were, like, refreshing the bingo card until you got one that will, like, let you win.
You may have noticed, I'm sorry I'm adjusting my glasses so much, cameraman Badan stepped on him. You may have noticed it rings a bell with what's going on in our society and what we're witnessing, which is of course the age-old conflict between good and evil. But this time it can more articulately be described as the strong minority versus the weak majority. The strong with fewer numbers but greater individual power, and the weak with greater numbers but less individual power. And the weak essentially attack all that is strong because it reminds them of their inadequacies, whether it's one man or whether it's an entire society, especially if that society was built by the strong men that they resent. And this is why leftism, properly defined, is the condition of being insecure and over-socialized. It is much less a political philosophy and much more a condition that is a result of mental illness. And the power structure in this country, the American regime, it breeds mental illness. Insecurity being part of that. And it uses its privatized propaganda apparatuses to propagate the appropriate narratives throughout the entirety of the culture, resulting effectively in over-socialization due to the overwhelming force of mass propaganda and the resultant mass conformity. This is why the largest and most powerful demographic that participate in these trends are always white, college-educated, upper-middle-class people who identify with these minority and special interest groups precisely because they view them as inferior and because it makes...
I like that John refers to what he calls, liberal groupthink as over-socialization because he's an antisocial asshole. He thinks that any people getting along and recognizing other people's problems in society and then taking actions to try and remedy those issues, he considers that over-socialization because he's an antisocial cunt. You didn't cheat, you just had multiple cards at the same time. That's cheating. Did I have to say to you people that you can only have one bingo card? I thought that was pretty implicit. You cannot have multiple bingo cards running at the same time. If I needed to say it, it's now been said. You can have one bingo card and don't refresh it multiple times.
Makes them feel as though they have purpose to fight on their behalf because they feel as though they have no purpose.
You can do that at bingo. Okay, I understand that if you're like at an old folks home or in person playing, you can do that at bingo. I guess maybe I should have said at some point that you should not have multiple cards. Don't get me wrong, it's an honor system thing. I'm not looking at your computer, I can't prove it. But I would like you to not do that. I would like you to have one bingo card. Otherwise, someone could have 50 tabs open and they win every time. And that's not fair to people who aren't going to do that. So I think you should stick to one bingo card. It's an honor system, but you should have the honor to honor that honor system.
In their own lives, and they feel as though they don't have power. And they compensate for their lack of individual power in groups. Think Antifa, think Black Lives Matter. Or with exaggerated and emotionally charged displays of aggression.
Bingo gate.
You'll notice that these types of men will become very emotional. They're very quick to aggression, and this is not the way that a man would actually behave, but rather the way that a woman would behave if you just increased her strength by about 10%, considering how weak these types of men usually are. This is why they behave that way publicly or even behind their keyboards. You'll notice that they say things that people who are secure with themselves really would never say. Like, they'll leave comments about me like, oh, I could break him in half, and I'm just like, shut up, hippie. Because their entire political framework is nothing more than weakness and the projection of insecurity. It's not a coincidence that I've never been criticized by someone better looking than me. It's really not a coincidence.
John, thinking that someone's moral superiority is based upon how they look is literally like Nazi shit. Again, people are like, why do you think John Doyle's a fascist? Why do you call him a Nazi? I don't know. Maybe the fact that he compares his moral... He conflates his moral superiority with his looks. It's not great.
Leftism is simply the political manifestation of a pathological need for power, and that is dangerous if left unchecked, pun intended. Because there are no ends which satiate the pathology, because it is not about the ends. It's about manufacturing meaning in one's life out of a feeling of inferiority and inadequacy. Why do you think these types tend to be mentally ill? Why do you think that they tend to want to make themselves unattractive as possible? Almost as if to say, I'm not good looking, but instead of trying to make myself better looking, I'm going to make myself as hideous as possible to assert my belief that there is no such thing as objective beauty standards. Because if there were, well, I would...
Damn, John. Maybe she just likes purple hair. Fuck.
Wouldn't be able to compete. They're rejecting that idea. It's the same thing. Fear of competition. You see this in all of their policies. It's why they want state-enforced equality, fear of competition, symptomatic of their insecurities. And it's these people working for these purposes that seek to literally destroy all that reminds them of their inadequacies, all that is good, all that was created by the strong, and if left unchecked, that results in the collapse of our society. And that's why it is the job of the conservative, by definition, to prevent that and to conserve the traditional American society. The conservative must utilize power to control the cultural and society.
These are the two American things. The Blue Angels and American flags.
Entropy, because if he doesn't, there will soon be nothing left to conserve, because such is the nature of leftism, and such has become more broadly the nature of our society, as men have become generally much weaker, because a man without a purpose, something to give himself to, something to care about, something to produce, without that, he will become apathetic towards his environments, and he will be concerned only with consumption, not production, consumption. He will be concerned only with distracting himself from the otherwise meaningless life that he lives. And the deterioration of masculinity, I think, has a lot to do with the American attitude towards guns. And I know the left likes to say, oh, well, gun owners only have guns because they're insecure with their masculinity. They have a tiny peepee, which...
I don't think that's the case. I think there are a lot of reasons people own guns, and I don't care if you want to own guns. I'm not anti-gun. However, I think conflating one's masculinity with the ownership of a gun, as John is doing here, by claiming that there's something to do with, like, the downfall of masculinity in the West, which is not a thing. Just because gender norms change over time does not mean that it's the deconstruction of, like, gender in general. And even if it was, I don't really give a fuck. That would be fine. I don't care. I don't think it's a necessary hierarchical structure for society to exist. I think it's a way that we use to describe certain things, and it ends up putting people in boxes. But either way, trying to say that you need a gun to be masculine, or that there's some conflation between masculinity as it's seen in the West, and its connection to guns, kind of says that any country that doesn't have just all sorts of guns doesn't have masculinity, which is stupid. It's very, very stupid. Do you think there are no masculine people in the UK or Australia or anywhere else in Europe? Like, what?
Which is, of course, a huge projective cope. But regardless, I do think that there's something to say about guns as one of the last staples of American masculinity, because for a long time in this country, there were just certain things that men knew how to do. And one of those things was properly handle and use a firearm. And as we've lost so many other components of masculinity, and some of you might be thinking, well, what other components? Because no one even knows or remembers what they were. But now we have this very in-your-face, come-and-take-it kind of gun culture, which is relatively new in terms of our history. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I actually think that it's a good thing to be outspokenly pro-gun. I just think that it's indicative of how the American man has become so feminized that we now basically have one last significant point of defense, and it's our guns. But that being said, we still have the results of that conditioning, to where a lot of us, despite supposedly being pro-Second Amendment, we retain that slave morality. We'll say things like, well, we don't really need much else than hunting rifles. Well, there's really no need for 30-round magazines. Oh, well, we should really just be grateful that the state lets us have handguns. We don't need rifles for self-defense, etc. And it's like, what happened? Did your balls drop off? See, a guy like me, look, the point is gun control is...
Jesus Christ, he literally just quoted the Joker. John lives in a society.
Really about saving lives, keeping people safe. Of course not. We know that. We know that. The people calling for gun control have never been involved with firearms before seriously. They have no idea what they're talking about. The same way the people who criticize police officers for employing lethal force, they have no idea what they're talking about. Well, why'd you have to shoot him so many times? Well, why didn't you just shoot him in the leg? Well, why didn't you know that in real life, your shots don't show up. You can't actually see if you've hit the person. They have so much adrenaline during that moment that their blood literally flows away from the surface of their skin. And if you shoot them, they won't immediately start gushing blood like in the movies. Plus, they typically won't even feel the shot. It's still very easy to be in the fight after you've been shot. People describe it like a stinging feeling followed by like a warm feeling. But otherwise, you can still easily be in the fight. But people who have never even been in a fist fight, they want to tell police officers or gun owners how they should properly go about defending themselves so as to optimize the well-being of the person who is trying to kill them.
Typically, John, when we're talking about stuff like that, we're not talking about people who are directly attacking the police. We're especially talking about people who are unarmed, when it's very clear that, like, they went to their last resort, which is shooting them almost immediately, and didn't try and de-escalate or use less lethal things like stun guns or pepper spray or anything. They go right for the gun. We're not usually talking about guy is running at the cops and the cop is going to shoot them. We're usually talking about, like, I don't know, someone's in their car and they're going to, like, grab their ID or their registration out of their glove box, and the cop freaks out and they shoot him 12 times or whatever. That's typically when that argument gets used, but okay.
They don't know anything about guns, the function, the engineering, nothing. And with these new gun control measures from Joe Biden, for example, we know that from a policy perspective, they're ineffective. We've proven that. We've gone into great detail just on this channel before, but that's not the point. And I'm not going to break down the specifics of what he's trying to do here, but I'll say it's a lot. And very
Does he
little
only
of it
talk
has
about
to do
guns
with just
this
gun
video?
control,
Because I
which
don't
then
really give a shit. Like I've said, I'm not anti-gun ownership, so I don't really have a lot to talk about if this is like the whole video.
And practicality of firearms, weak men. And when you have generations of weak, insecure men who see no purpose to their lives, they will dedicate themselves to that which preserves their comfort, which is the state and the expansion of the state, which is done by pledging allegiance to the narratives of the incumbent regime. And I'm not talking about Barack Obama, George Bush, etc. I'm talking about the American regime enforced by the administrative state, aka the deep state, and propagated by the apparatuses which are occupied by the same types of
the deep state, a thing that's definitely real.
American regime is contingent upon the submission and the enthusiasm of the masses. And the submission is contingent upon weak and demoralized men, and the enthusiasm is contingent upon using their propaganda to convince the aforementioned masses that to pledge allegiance to the narratives of the state is to give purpose to their otherwise meaningless lives, aside from, of course, consumerism and hedonism, and that doing so will ensure a greater level of comfort for themselves and for those who they perceive to be even weaker and lower than themselves. Given that death is certain, it's preferable to die for something good from us, but
okay, I don't give a shit about this one. I'm bailing out. I don't really care about gun control. I'm fine if you want to own guns, John. I really don't care. However, when you start talking about like sedition, which you've implied in recent videos, that's fucked up. Don't do that. Moving on, let me get to these bit messages and then we'll get to something else that's more interesting. Devious Chillster with 20 bits. Wait, but the MAGA hat never comes off. Steve with a Q with 100 bits. Hey, Hannah, nothing clever to say. Just thanks to one of my favorite Twitch streamers. Thank you. AshyBoo74. His birthday is really close to mine. Mine is January 17th. Well, happy almost birthday. Tucker White 94. John, pro tip. When you're doing a video with an important topic, don't start it with a boring story. Beer Maiden 81. Thank you for resubscribing with a 2-month streak. Happy subiversary. Not exactly what I imagined a subversary to be. LOL. Stone Corbell. How can John be so close but so far away? I don't know. It's frustrating. Tucker White says bingo, which was a lie. Meaty52 with 50 bits. The way John defines slave morality honestly just sounds like conservative morality to me. Tucker White, I didn't cheat. I had multiple cards at the same time, which I have established is cheating. That's official, okay? No, you can't have multiple cards open. Meaty52. An effing child could break John in half. The snacks a lot. Thank you for following. Actually, in order to... Okay, here are the official rules for bingo since we've never apparently, like worked this out. And I guess you can only have one bingo card open at a time. Don't refresh it multiple times. Like, I get it if at the beginning you're like, whatever. But, like, mid-stream, do not refresh it and try and get a better one. Once we start marking stuff on the bingo card... That's it. You get the bingo card you get when you generate the card. And you can win bingo once a month. That's the new rule to keep it so one person doesn't keep winning. Okay. What if you accidentally refresh? Then it is what it is. But, like, intentionally going in and refreshing over and over, that's not cool. So there we go. The Creeping Darkness of 20 bits. Excuse me. He's in Michigan. ICP needs to visit him. Oh no, not going to read the rest of that. Tucker White, if you're going to sit here and tell me this isn't cute, John, then you have shit taste. And then it's, again, from a subreddit, Anime Femboys, which I'm not going to click on. Meaty52 with 20 bits. Human value does not derive from one's production. Big Sky Pioneer. I have to have a driver's license proving to the state that I can safely operate a motor vehicle and I have a rudimentary understanding of the laws governing traffic. Why is it so demanding to think there should be a similar standard for gun owners? The Profane Priestess with 20 bits. John, I'm in favor of gun control and I guarantee I'm a better shot than you. I know how to use guns. That's why I know we need regulation. Bardlock Moses, I'm a VFW. He has no idea what he's talking about. I have respect for firearms, unlike this Chud. Tucker White, fellas, is it gay to not own a gun? The Boy with the Fairy with 30 bits, so he's slowly taking off the MAGA hat. Will it be gone soon? One can only hope. Tucker White, click the link, Hannah. No. The Creeping Darkness of 20 bits. Didn't mean the lesson thing in a violent way. Just text lacking emotion. All right. Stephen J. Neptune, man of 20 bits. I nearly screamed, "You're almost there, you dork," when he went off on the cops. Apollo 8192 wants to know if they have an unredeemed bingo. Not from me, but I haven't been keeping track of, like, Chud bingo wins, because I'm not the one who gives them out, so that would be up to the person who does that. I'm not going to click on the anime femboys thing. Okay, I'll click on it, but not on stream, because I don't know if it's going to be safe for work. Okay, I guess it's safe for work. It's fine. I can...
I was wondering where I put that.
Okay, so what are we gonna do? Yeah, it's just cute. It was fine. I don't know. I haven't been on that subreddit though, so I don't know if it's safe for work. Okay, we got this guy, we got Tim, we got Sticks. What do I want to do? Tim, let's do Tim, because that's in the title of the video, and I like to cover all the stuff I put in the title so it's not clickbait. Otherwise, I have to change the title. Okay, Tim Pool has another video. This time it's about Newt Gingrich not recognizing Biden as president. And as we all know, the Constitution says Newt Gingrich gets to decide who the president is based on his own whims. He also, of course, continues to say establishment politics is collapsing and war is next. Because Tim Pool's one grift, I guess, is to bait chuds into believing that the Civil War II is just around the corner. So let's see what he has to say.
There have been prominent speakers, political commentators calling for some kind of peaceful divorce in this country. And now we have another high-profile individual saying there are alternate realities here. Something's got to change. Just the other day, I did a segment from...
Yes, it should change by you accepting the reality that Biden won the presidency. Glad we could solve that problem for you, Tim. Time to pack the beanie in and go home.
Cenk Uygur, I was reading an article from him. He's the founder of the Young Turks, co-founder, I believe. And he was saying there are three different versions of reality right now: the establishment, the right, and the left. He was very critical of the populist right, and of course, it's Cenk Uygur. Well, now we have this. Gingrich won't accept Biden as president, says Democrats, Republicans live in alternative worlds. You are correct, good sir. But Cenk is actually more correct in how he brought it up. It's not Democrats and Republicans. Right now, on Twitter, the number 3 trend is vote them all out. Vote them all out. Republicans and Democrats, and just gone, all of them. You see, you've got regular people, populists, and you've got political establishment. Republicans are the political establishment just as much as the Democrats are. Now, as I showed you earlier on this morning in my other segment, Republicans actually stood up against this psychotic spending bill, this omnibus bill. But my friends, I have some good news. Why? In fact, the Democrats have shown us exactly how Donald Trump can still win. Patriots, listen up. In 2 moves, Trump becomes president for 4 more years. It's very simple. First, Trump must veto the omnibus spending bill. I'm not sure if he can. I think the way it would work is that he would veto it, and then
I think he has vetoed it as of the recording of this video, if I saw correctly. I think he did right before I started the stream, but I don't know if it was a veto-proof majority that voted on it, so I don't know.
Would basically vote again. Now, the amount of people who voted yes on this is a veto-proof majority, so it might just go through no matter. I think
so
Trump
it's not going to matter.
I'm kidding, by the way.
Although, of course, Trump did say he wants to make it a $2,000 individual payment as opposed to the current $600, and the Democrats, including Nancy Pelosi, were like, yeah, let's do that. Which puts Mitch McConnell in an interesting position, so...
The point I'm trying to make is, in this bill is so much garbage and bloat and corruption. Basically, you had a bunch of Congress people just crumpling up garbage and tossing it into the bucket. You see, all that had to happen was for one sly Trump-supporting Republican to write a very simple page, Donald Trump won the November 3rd election.
Really? This is the desperation level we've come to, Tim. We just gotta end the spending bill. We just gotta declare Donald Trump is the winner. Even though that's not how the Constitution says anything works, and if it went to court, it would immediately get thrown out. But we wrote it on a piece of paper and approved the bill, so it's real. Oh my god, this is pathetic, even for Tim.
And this bill certifies him for another 4 years. And then everybody and all these politicians have been like, I support this. I love how, if you watch my earlier segment, AOC and Josh Hawley, Democrat and Republican, being like, this is terrible, this bill is so awful, I vote yay. Great. That's political willpower. But ultimately, I think the bigger concern is when you have both the left and the right saying, vote them all out. What Newt Gingrich is saying is important, but he's missing something more. You see, Newt himself is, for a long time, he's been an establishment politician. And with all due respect to him and the likes of any other politician, some are certainly better than others. They're in the machine. They're the establishment. So when Newt is looking at Republicans and Democrats, I got to say, what he's saying should be worrying to you. When we have street-level violence between populist left and populist right, then you have street-level violence between establishment and populist left, which is the cops and the protest and the far left. Now, the other day we saw in Oregon, right-wing groups protesting. There's windows got smashed up. I don't know who did it. Somebody, one of the right-wing protesters.
There was video of it. Did you not see it? Hold on. Hi, kitty. This is crazy. Did you see this? Lockdown protesters, Trump supporters, surprise, surprise, like busted down the door of the Capitol building. I don't remember what state this is. Remember when the right were criticizing and they were like, oh, if we would never destroy property or government property or private property. All these protesters who are destroying property are ridiculous. The right would never do this. He hurt his hand. I also like that he did smash it in enough, like the bottom window isn't connected at all. He could get in if he wanted, but I don't think he thought that far. Like, I don't think he's like, oh shit, I actually broke it now. What do I do? Because if I go in there, I'm just gonna get arrested. I've just broken government property. What happens now?
Come on, we have to push! Let's go!
Law and order. Yeah. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, but I think some of them did get pepper sprayed, but you know. Yeah, pepper spray. So much for the party of law and order, huh? I guess it's only law and order when it's black people, but when it's white people who support Trump, then, you know, mob rule is the way to go.
There's a patriot protester, conservative, whatever you want to call him, pepper sprayed the cops. When you have all three factions fighting in a big circle, well, that's worrying. In a big triangle, right? How about that? But then you see people like Newt Gingrich say Democrats and Republicans are alternative worlds. And that means that split has made it to the top of the establishment. When the establishment crumbles, then there's going to be a fight. It could be a political fight. And I think we're there now with like Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. The political fight is then a battle over the remainder of the establishment. That's what we saw with the presidency of Donald Trump. The establishment became weak. The populist right took power and the populist left revolted. The establishment, in panic, sided with the populist left. Now what?
I wish.
What happens that the establishment is back in control. The populists are bigger, angrier, and more powerful than ever, and they are going to tear things apart. Figuratively. That's why I bring up the vote them all out.
I want to live in the world where Tim thinks that Biden has actually capitulated to the populist left. Can we live in that reality, please?
When the right and the left are in alignment against the establishment's in trouble. And I wonder, on January 6th, Trump supporters, patriots, conservatives, Alex Jones, Jones says 10 million people will be in D.C. on January. Okay. Well, I'm also hearing from people I know who are somewhat politically active, but don't really go out much, saying that they're planning on being there. That to me is a sign that I think a lot of people might actually show up. Now, I'm not entirely convinced it's going to be 10 million people, but look, they did an event in D.C. last month or whatever, and it was decently large. It was a couple 100,000 people. This is it. This is Trump's his last electoral stand. I think a lot of people are going to show up. I do. Let's read what Newt Gingrich has to say, and then we'll jump back into this omnibus bill, and I'll talk about they jammed into this bill a provision declaring the Belarusian election fraudulent. And that's when I said, clearly, the system is completely broken, and anybody who wanted Trump to win could have made it happen. But this is what we have. The system.
Tim, that's not how it works. You cannot just put a thing in a bill that's like, by the way, President Trump is the president from 2021 to 2024. That's not how that works. The Constitution spells out how the president is elected. Nowhere in there do they say, and you can put it in a bill, and that's how you're going to do it. It's not how it works, believe it or not.
The system in place is broken and corrupted. And you've got people in Congress who are literally voting to approve who knows what. Millions of dollars for Pakistani gender programs. Great. Gingrich says, in an op-ed titled Why I Will Not Accept Joe Biden as President, former House Speaker Gingrich writes that his unwillingness to accept the election results rises from an outrage he says he previously hasn't felt. Gingrich wrote that he'd been asked by a smart friend of mine why he couldn't accept Biden's win over President Trump. Quote, as I thought about it, I realized my anger and fear were not narrowly focused on votes. Gingrich wrote in an op-ed published Monday in the Washington Times. My unwillingness to relax and accept the election grew out of a level of outrage and alienation unlike anything I'd experienced in more than 60 years' involvement in public affairs. Gingrich also said the two parties and liberals and conservatives live in alternative worlds. You have more than 74 million voters who supported President Trump despite everything. And given the election mess, the number could easily be significantly higher. The truth is, tens of millions of Americans are deeply alienated and angry. If Mr. Biden governs from the left, he will almost certainly be forced to. That number will grow rapidly, and we will win a massive election in 2022.
I think they probably will. I think 2022 is going to be an absolute bloodbath for the Democrats because I don't think Biden's going to do anything substantive that's actually going to help people. I think the economy is probably going to tank. Right now, it's already bad. We're on the cusp of a ridiculous evictions crisis because people can't pay their bills. The $600. Oh, there we go, Kitty. Good job. The $600 isn't going to be enough to help people who are already months and months behind on their bills and their rent payments, their mortgage payments, whatever it's going to be. I know on my street, I've even noticed like 4 or 5 houses have gone up for sale in the last like 2 months, which is very, very odd. That's not that many usually. Things are going to go in the absolute trash in the next 6 months. It's going to be really, really, really bad. And Biden's going to get blamed for it. Some of it rightfully so, some of it not. Some of it certainly falls on Donald Trump for his mishandling of the COVID pandemic initially, which is, spiraled out of control to where we are today, where we have to do ridiculous lockdowns because people are still refusing to take even the smallest measures for safety. So these issues are going to really, really hurt the Biden presidency. On top of that, he's a milquetoast centrist, corporatist Dem who's going to do nothing to actually help working class people. Yeah, 2022 is going to be an absolute bloodbath, and I would almost certainly say, I could be wrong, I hope I'm wrong, but I would guess that the Republicans are going to take the House and the Senate in 2022. And then absolutely nothing's going to get done until 2024. Biden will probably be a one-term president. And who knows what kind of populist right-wing Trump-type monster they're going to run for the Republicans in 2024. It could be really, really bad. So It's going to be very interesting. And hey, I could be wrong. I'm not Tim Pool, right? I'm not telling you I know these things are going to happen. Just looking at the landscape right now, that's how it seems like it's going to go to me. And it's going to be an interesting 4 years. If you thought that because Trump is no longer in office, you don't have to pay attention to politics anymore, sorry, that's not how this works. You need to pay attention to them every day for the rest of your life. It's going to be a rough one.
Yes. I believe he's correct about that, assuming chaos doesn't break out. Joe Biden could be our Buchanan, a feckless and weak politician who leads us into the Civil War. Civil War II, I guess, because Buchanan led us into the first one. Biden defeated Trump in the 2020 election. They say...
I don't think there'll be a civil war. I think whenever Tim brings that up, it makes me laugh.
Great, thanks, Hill. I live under a rock, so I didn't know
Sorry,
that.
kitty.
They say Trump won the second most popular votes ever. Trump won more votes than any sitting president ever, gaining, what did he gain? Like 12 million votes over 2016. It's unprecedented that Donald Trump was able to gain so many votes and still lose while all down ticket Republicans were winning.
Yeah, people really hate Donald Trump. People really like Donald Trump if they're on the right. People really hate Donald Trump if they're centrist or on the left. Weird how that works out.
And this shows you why Republicans will not accept the results and will not accept Joe Biden as president.
Why? Like, I get it. You guys are really, really hyped for Trump, but he lost. He lost. People hate Donald Trump. I understand you like him a lot. People do not like him, though. Most people do not like him, as we saw in this election. And just because you don't like the results and you don't like that other people don't like Trump the way you do, doesn't mean you get to deny reality. When Newt Gingrich says that the right and the left live in different realities, he's right, but it's not because they're living in, like, polar opposite realities where they're both equally incorrect. It's because the left is living in reality, or at least close to it, and the right is living in loopy fairyland where they think they can just throw out the results of a Democratic election because they don't like how it went. That's not how it works.
They say Gingrich has backed Trump's efforts to challenge the election results, and in the op-ed wrote he does not have any interests in pretending that the current result is legitimate or honorable, calling it a final stroke of a 4-year establishment media power grab. There has been no evidence offered to support that the results of the election were unfair. However, and challenges brought by the Trump campaign and his allies have repeatedly been rejected in court. Rejected, but not denied.
Someone get Timothosaurus stat. Rejected, but not denied. Those words mean very close to the same thing. Those are synonyms. We call those, Tim. We call those synonyms.
What I mean by that is not denied or rejected on the merits.
There have been ones that have been rejected on the merits, though. In Pennsylvania, there have been multiple cases that have been rejected on the merits. Standing was only a thing that was the issue in the Texas case, right? There were Pennsylvania cases and Wisconsin cases that were dropped based on the lack of merit of the accusations being made. We read some of those court cases in this stream. Tim is lying. Surprise!
They say culminating a pair of losses at the Supreme Court that now includes 3 Trump nominees. Yes. But my friends, what do you think happens when 74 million people say no? I made a joke yesterday. I love trolling on Twitter, and I love how dumb so many of these resistance Democrats are. The establishment types. And for some reason, I got to tell you, man, maybe it's a low information thing, but leftists, it's kind of crazy to me. You know, I'll put out a tweet, and they'll just say the dumbest things. So here's what I tweeted. I said, I think it's obvious. 80 million votes proves that Joe Biden was being held back by Barack Obama. Could you imagine if the ticket was Biden-Obama? It would have been bigger than ever.
No, Biden got more votes because people dislike Donald Trump, not because they like Biden. I assume he's just trolling anyway, so it's whatever, which is still stupid. I find the concept of trolling to be infantile in the first place. He's trying to get a rise out of people. But no, people just voted against Trump. They didn't vote for Biden. I'm sure there were some people who voted for Biden because they genuinely like him. There's a lot of, liberals in the country. But, like, a decent bit of his votes, probably millions and millions of them, were just people who really, really don't like Donald Trump.
Barack Obama getting 69 million votes in 2008. Could you imagine if Joe Biden was on that ticket? It would have been massive. And this is also evidenced by the fact that Donald Trump gained 12 million votes. Imagine if it wasn't a populist like Donald Trump running against Joe Biden. Joe Biden would have clearly won in a massive landslide. Dare I say, Joe Biden is being held back by Barack Obama. And now that he's running on his own, 80 million votes. Obviously, everybody has been begging, and they finally got what they've been asking for, an old white career politician. And so many leftists and establishment Democrats are like, you're so dumb. You really think that would? Like, are you kidding me, dude?
I intentionally said a stupid thing to get people to call me stupid. You idiots, you fell into my trap. What? What kind of political discourse is this, Tim, you absolute moron?
Man, these people can't understand, like, social cues, I guess. And maybe it has something to do with the school system, the education system. I don't know, man. But I tell you, these people just don't get it. Anyway, here's my point. What happens when you have Donald Trump? He won, I think, like 62 million votes first time around. And Hillary Clinton won 65 million. But Hillary Clinton didn't win in the right places. Donald Trump gained about 12 million new voters. Now, you can call it Trump.
And Joe Biden got more than that, where it counted, because people really, really don't like Donald Trump. Don't get how he doesn't get that. Do you think Tim really doesn't get that, or do you think Tim is grifting? I mean, the general thing is Tim is grifting, but I'm sure part of it, he really believes the things he's saying sometimes. I'm curious if this is something he really believes, or if it's just part of the grift.
For the past several years,
oh God,
prominent
Kitty
speakers,
hit a button and started the video over. Where were we?
Are you kidding me, dude? Man, these people can't understand, like, social cues, I guess, and maybe just don't get it. Anyway, here's my point. What happened? Votes first time around, and Hillary Clinton won 65 million, but Hillary Clinton didn't win in the right places. Donald Trump gained about 12 million new voters. Now, you can call it Trump's fault. You can say Biden didn't really get 80 million. They were votes against Trump. And I think that's fair to a certain degree, so I get it. But it shows you the escalation on both sides is the rising tension of disparate worldviews. Now, I saw something really funny. Jesse Kelly, he's a commentator. He tweeted, a lot of people are talking about wanting a civil war, and they don't understand how bad it will be. And, having to bury your son in a conflict or something like that. And Frank Luntz, the famous pollster, responded with this and he linked to an article from The Federalist. It's time for the United States to divorce before things get dangerous, by Jesse Kelly, April 10th, 2018. Apparently, Frank, you didn't read the title of the article, which is saying we don't want a civil war, which is funny because Jesse Kelly literally tweeted, we don't want a civil war. But we're at that point.
I'm assuming he's saying we should secede or something, which it's like, yeah, saying you're going to secede is innately a call for war, right? You can't say we want to peacefully secede. You literally can't secede from the United States. This has been settled. Again, we had a whole war over it.
I got to tell you, it's crazier and crazier every day. The disparate worldview.
Kitty. She keeps hitting buttons with her butt.
One thing I pointed out yesterday, you have in California a mass exodus, or was this a couple days ago?
Oh, we're on a hype train. Sweet.
There's 844,000 people who have signed a petition calling for a recall of California Governor Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is an authoritarian crackpot.
844,000 population of California. So there's almost 40 million people in California, and under a million have said that they don't like the governor and they want to recall the governor. That's not a lot of people, considering the population of California.
But people are trying to get him recalled. They need another, I think, 800,000 or so, or 700,000 signatures.
They just need to double the amount of signatures. That's difficult to do, but okay.
Trigger a special election. I think it's good they're doing it. I'm not sure it will matter. You know why? At the same time, California is dealing with a mass exodus. People are fleeing the state in greater and greater numbers.
See, Tim says this like it's a good thing for Republicans, and I don't understand why he thinks that. Because if people are fleeing California for a number of reasons, whether they don't like, you know, what's going on in the government, or if they think the property prices are too high, and yeah, property prices in a lot of places in California are crazy ridiculous. But if they go to places like Texas or other places that are typically red states, it's possible a lot of those places are going to start turning purple or blue. Like, you don't want to do that, Tim. Tim, if you have people leaving California, some of those people are going to be Republicans, but some of them aren't going to be. I don't know. It just seems strange to me that he'd be, you know, when Texas has been trending more and more purple year after year, it's getting closer and closer to where it's going to be a swing state sometime in the next 20 years. Specifically for these reasons, where people who are usually from tech centers in, like, California end up moving for work to cities in Texas. Like, that spells bad things for the conservative party in this country. If Texas, especially with our current electoral system, the Electoral College, goes blue or purple, the Republicans are screwed. So whatever. I mean, cheer to hasten that. That's fine, Tim. I just don't think you've thought it through very well.
Interestingly, there's a negative net migration from Americans and a net positive migration from foreign citizens, which means California is becoming less American citizen and more foreign immigrant. These people who are leaving California are the people you need to sign that petition to get Newsom recalled, but they're going to Texas, Idaho, Wyoming, etc. They're getting out. So what happens in 2 years? Well, Newt Gingrich says there's going to be a massive backlash and Republicans will win. I'm not convinced. I'm not entirely convinced. Red states will become redder and blue states will become bluer, and blue states have more congressional seats because denser population around cities. Not every blue state. Not every red state. Okay, obviously. But what happens then when all of the people who are like, yo, I should be allowed to own a gun? What happens when those people are attacked, oppressed, or threatened by Joe Biden's presidency? What happens when...
It's another they're coming for our guns thing. They've been saying this for decades and decades. People still have guns. Trump is the one that banned bump stocks, guys. What are you talking about?
Joe Biden gets what he wants. He wants an assault weapons ban. Something that makes literally no sense. You know, if you've done any research on it, and even doing a cursory glance, I can tell you it makes no sense. I understand the general idea of wanting some kind of gun control measures. That I get. You'd be surprised. In some places, it's insanely easy to get guns. All right? You'd think there would be some kind of reasonable approach that Joe Biden or the Democrats would bring about, but they only bring about absurdity and insanity. They tell you certain things are banned for cosmetic reasons. It makes no sense. So I'll tell you a story. So I recently became a gun owner this year, and I was talking to a gun shop owner about a very famous case where a woman from Pennsylvania apparently didn't realize, even though she was permitted to carry a weapon, that she went into New Jersey. She was going to Atlantic City to go gamble. And when she got pulled over, she did the responsible thing as a responsible law-abiding citizen. And when the officer came up to the window, she said, I just want to let you know that I am armed. And he said, okay, you're under arrest for a felony possession or whatever. Why?
Then she wasn't law-abiding, Tim. If she didn't research the gun laws where she was going, and she went in there with a gun illegally, then that's not law-abiding. You're literally saying she broke the law, but she was doing it in a law-abiding way. That doesn't mean what you think it means.
Why would you do this to someone? And that's why people refer to states like New Jersey and a bunch of other states as like the evil seven. Why would you do that to somebody? If you're a cop, and you swear an oath to the Constitution, and some bumbling 40-something-year-old woman says, I'm just going to meet the girls to gamble in Atlantic City. And then when you're like, ma'am, you see a gun? Why would you be like, well, I'm going to put this woman in prison for years?
Because we have a thing called rule of law in this country, and if you break the law, you get charged. That's how that works. You can't just do felonies and say, like, well, I'm a white woman. At least that's not how it should work, right? What does the fact that she's an old white lady have to do with anything? It's the law, Tim. Do you think the law should apply differently to different groups of people? You're kind of saying the quiet part out loud here.
That makes no sense.
Batty Bell, thank you for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. I'll get to all the hype train bits once we're done with this video.
Why?
I know there's a lot of them.
Wouldn't just be like, ma'am, we have a law in this state. You cannot have a concealed weapon. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to escort you back to the bridge, and you need to go back to Pennsylvania because you cannot bring that weapon. What you got to understand about Pennsylvania and New Jersey and New York and New Jersey is that if you live in Philadelphia, New Jersey is basically a suburb. We have no reasonable approach to politics. We have no human approach to politics and justice and law in this country. And that's why I bring this up specifically about the peaceful divorce scenario.
About the tools of capitalism.
When both the populist left and the right want all of Congress gone, we have a problem. And they do. And there's probably a bunch of bumbling non-voters who don't know or don't care, but it doesn't matter. They're not active. They're the ones who are rising up in the street and actually getting involved. If you abstain from the vote, then I don't think you're a non-participant. I'm not going to say, well, let's see what they think. No. You need to get here and express yourself. But listen, what happens if right now they got rid of every congressperson? That would be a start, I guess. And then we get a whole new wave of people in Congress. And what would they do? Probably the same things. So we have no way to stop this train, which is about to crash into a wall, which is funding things like $10 million for Pakistani gender programs. Take a look at this one from Town Hall.
It's a general funding bill, for those who don't know. The COVID stuff was in there, but it's also a general funding bill for the government, which is why there's a lot of stuff in it.
Here's a few things that are in the bill.
Again, I don't necessarily agree with everything that's in it, but I don't agree with a lot of things that are in funding bills. Up to and including the very large defense budget that we have for this country. That's way too big, but whatever. Every time there's a funding bill, Republicans will be like, here's 5 things that we read in this 10,000-page bill that we think are silly.
Climate Security Advisory Council. Let's see, the
yeah, that's important. A Climate Advisory Council would be an important thing.
Invasive Species Assessments, Mitigation, and Reductions, $130 million.
Yeah, that's environmental. This isn't a silly one. You guys are supposed to pick out silly ones, not things that are actually important.
That's amazing. Now people are saying it's a COVID bill. It's the omnibus spending bill. But I do think it's fair to call it the COVID bill.
No, it's not. That's in there, but that's not the purpose of the bill. The purpose of the bill is to fund the government. It's a government funding bill. They do this all the time. It's what we've had several shutdowns over.
Because that's their justification for passing the whole thing. They're worried about water resources on the Tibetan Plateau. That's great. It looks like about $1 million for, what is this? Oh, the Tibetan issues. Wonderful, wonderful. Creating a U.S.-India Gandhi King Development Foundation, $30 million. Assistance for Tibetan refugees. I'm actually not too put out by that, you know what I mean? Tibet, China, yeah, they got issues.
It's almost like everyone in the government are working for different purposes and then have different pet projects, things like refugees for Tibet or other things, environmental issues, and then they all get together and they figure out what stuff is going to go in the bill, and then they put it in the bill, and they all sort of go back and forth and why can't I think of the word? Negotiate, and then they pass the bill. Weird how that works. You've described government funding. Good job, Tim. Good job.
The point is, these aren't the worst things I've seen. The $10 million for gender programs. And
we are at 16% of level 5, by the way. Wowzers. This is a really good hype train. Thank you, everyone.
Pakistan certainly is absurd. But the left and the right are both upset about this. The left is upset that the stimulus package isn't enough. But that doesn't work for the people on the right. The left's answer is give everyone more money. The right's answer is open up the economy. If the left and...
That's interesting that he said this probably prior to Donald Trump coming out and saying, you know, make it $2,000. So right now he's against it because the right, Mitch McConnell, have been saying they don't want to do more than $600. But now Trump has come out and said, okay, do $2,000. So has Tim reversed decision on this because Trump said something? Yeah. Trump nukes garbage COVID relief bill from orbit. So now that Donald Trump has said do more, Tim is on the same page and wants to do more. Okay.
The Democrats want to shut
very consistent
down their economies. Fine, they can do it. So long as you allow the red states to do what they want to do as well. And this is where the problem arises. The federal government cannot accurately represent both factions of the culture war as they break apart. That's the establishment, the politicians in Congress. That's the establishment. So they're fumbling. They're falling apart, desperately trying to do something and still doing nothing. I don't think they actually care for the most part. Only a handful of politicians actually said no to this bill. Only 2 Democrats, Rashida Tlaib and Tulsi Gabbard. Good for them. My respect. So what happens then? If we get rid of the federal government, it will go back to the populist battlefront. The left and the right arguing now over what the solution is. Yes, I think Jesse Kelly is correct. Unfortunately, and it's kind of scary, the left wants more government spending, more government control, more government authority. They want everything to be locked down. I had Destiny on the IRL podcast, and he said we need a hard lockdown, a complete and total 2-month stop, and then a stimulus package to make sure everyone gets through that. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. That makes sense. Right now, we have a half-baked approach because we have some partial opening. Some states are open, some are closed.
I agree. It needs to all be shut down, but red states and Republicans refuse to do so. That is the problem, Tim.
And doing half of both isn't working, I guess. Now, we did, for the most part, have a near total shutdown. I don't think it's going to work. So you know what?
No, we didn't. What are you talking about? Stuff was all shut down at different times in different places with different levels of shutting down, and some had mask mandates and some didn't. It's all over the place. That's the problem. We have interstate commerce, and people are constantly traveling all over the country, but they're traveling from different areas with different levels of lockdown or no lockdown at all, so it makes one state's lockdown completely ineffectual because other states are completely open, and they're becoming petri dishes for the virus that then gets spread to other states. It needs to all happen at once because we're a country where people travel all throughout the United States all the time. We're one political entity. We need to make decisions on pandemics as one entity at the federal level. You cannot do like one state does this, another state does another thing, because it doesn't work.
You can advocate for that. I'll advocate for reopening the economy and protecting the vulnerable. I'm still in favor of a stimulus package on...
Fuck off, Tim. You don't give a shit about the vulnerable. You want grandma to die for the economy. Fuck you.
Top of that, we can figure it out. But there's the divide from the left and the right. Why should someone in New York City who lives in a concrete cubicle stacked on top of a bunch of other people in a place that smells like sour milk, why should they dictate what someone in West Virginia is doing?
Because more people live there. Why should someone in West Virginia in the middle of bumfuck nowhere next to a dying town whose entire economy is based off fucking coal dictate what actual civilization does, Tim? Fewer people live in West Virginia. Yet we live in a constitutional republic that's government functions via representative democracy. In a democracy, whoever the majority opinion wins. There are fewer of you. You want to rule by, like, minority rule. You want you and your cows in the middle of bumfuck nowhere to be making decisions for people in cities where the actual economy happens. What is wrong with you? And I'm not saying people in the middle of nowhere shouldn't have a say. They should. Everyone deserves the right to have their voice heard. But their voice needs to be heard in proportion to who they are. One person gets one vote. Your voice doesn't get to be louder just because you live in the middle of nowhere with no one else around you. It's like you think New York is one monolithic entity and that should all get one vote, and then you in the middle of bumfuck nowhere should get one vote, and someone in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in the town over should also get one vote, and because there's more land with fewer people on it, you should get more say than somewhere like LA or New York. It's stupid. It's ridiculous.
That's the problem. It doesn't work. Cities have become so insanely different from rural areas, it doesn't make sense anymore. So Joe Biden says assault weapons ban of all online sales of accessories and firearm-related, items, and it's like, well, why does that make sense? Why does it make sense? Look, if you're concerned that someone in, say, Indiana can buy a gun and bring it to Chicago, then get security when people are coming into Illinois. That's your problem, not banning guns across the entire country or banning guns for people in Indiana. That's what Joe Biden wants to do. So here's the big battle. The Democrats want this country, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, to reflect their image. The Republicans want to be left alone, which...
No, they don't! You want to dictate, again, no, you don't. You want to dictate conservative, often Christian policy decisions onto everyone else. You want to ban abortion. You want to ban gay marriage, maybe not Tim individually, but I'm talking about a lot of the Republican Party as a whole, right? You want to make trans people not exist anymore or legislate them out of the public sphere. Like, no! You can't do that either. Don't act like you just want to be left alone. You fucking don't. It's ridiculous.
Leads us to an untenable situation. Republican politicians doing nothing to stop the Democrats saying this is what must be. If you live in New York City, you got cops on every corner, and you like your cops, and you're okay with everything they're doing, apparently the left isn't because they protest the cops all the time. But if you vote for this and you support it and you don't want guns, then fine, so be it. That's you. To then have these blue locations vote on behalf of red locations saying you can't have guns makes no sense. Culminating in a very famous tweet where someone said, what if
This is bordering on a sovereign citizen argument. Imagine if I said, well, imagine if everyone else in the world, everyone agrees, right? Like, in the United States, like, oh, you shouldn't chain people up in your basement and hold them hostage. Imagine if someone was in their house and they're like, well, this is my house. Why do all those people out there get to dictate who I chain to my basement? You know what I mean? Because most people agree that that's bad. And we live, gonna quote the Joker, we live in a society, and as it turns out, when the majority of society thinks something is morally repugnant, or decides that it is adverse to other people or society as a whole, then you make laws forbidding that thing. You don't get to just say, well, why do other people get to dictate what I get to do? Because civilization, that's why. Shut the fuck up, Tim, or else we're gonna ban beanies next, and everyone's gonna have to see the ridiculous shine coming off that dome.
You know, when they wanted to ban assault rifles, it says, what happens if 30 to 50 feral hogs, come onto my property? What do I do? And all of the Democrat leftist types are like, you're so dumb. What are you gonna, 50 hogs? What are you crazy? 50 hogs on your property and you need a gun. Yes, feral hogs are a very serious problem. They're massive, and they go nuts. I lived in a rural area for some time. It's really, I don't want to say it's a red pill moment necessarily. It's not necessarily red pill, but you really do get a better understanding of the political divide. Let me tell you something. I lived in a rural area. Gunshots just went off near my house because I'm in the middle of nowhere right now. I lived in a rural area. Oh, and you know what's really funny? City people don't get it because they freak out when they hear gunshots. Like, don't worry, they're on their property doing whatever. I don't care. Anyway, I lived in a rural area, and I was talking to locals. I remember going to a Trump rally talking to Trump supporters.
Why does Tim think no leftists or left-leaning people ever lived in, like, the country? I grew up in the middle of nowhere. I grew up having, gunshots from people hunting all the time. I understand that. I'm not against gun ownership. If you want to hunt, I don't really care. I don't care if you own guns, Tim. We're not all, like, metropolitan city folk, okay? We just want fucking healthcare.
Florida. And you really start to understand where conservatives are coming from and why they think the things they do. Two things happened. Where I lived, there was a series of home invasions. And some guys apparently broke into someone's house. He was taking a shower or something like that. And when he got out of the shower, he heard a noise. And so he's in his towel, and he goes down the stairs to see what's up, and there's two men, and they look at him, point a gun, and boom, boom, two in his chest. And he died. And everyone heard about it. And it turned out these guys, guess what? Non-citizens, unauthorized immigrants, illegal immigrants.
The crime rate is lower for the immigrant population, including illegal immigrants, than it is for the population of citizens in this country. Tim pointing out an anecdote where a couple of immigrants killed someone is not indicative of the behavior of immigrants as a whole, legal or otherwise. Fucking ridiculous.
It's whatever the PC term is, whatever. And so there you go. Two things that people in the neighborhood started saying. You need to get a gun and protect yourself, and we're concerned about illegal immigration. And then these people show up for a Trump rally, and Trump wins in Florida. People who live in big cities don't see these things and don't hear these stories or just don't care. Maybe they say it doesn't matter if these men are non-citizens, illegally or legally or whatever. Maybe they feel like they could call the police. The problem with where I live down in Florida, we didn't have police. There was like a sheriff maybe. You could call and then they'd be like, we'll be there in 40 minutes. Good luck. Do you have a gun? No. I have more gunshots going off. It's great. At least I know that where I am now, I have a responsibility to myself to take care of my friends, my family, and be responsible. In the city, I understand if you've got cops everywhere. I lived in cities too. It's easy to call the cops. They're there in a minute. When I lived in the Philly area, someone tried to break into my house. Cops were there in a minute. We heard the noise, called the police. They were there. They found the guy. They searched him. Everything was good. Apparently the guy was crazy or whatever, and they let him go or something like that. He came back. The cops showed up a minute later, and that was easy. And even the cops there told me, get a shotgun or something. And I'm like, all right. So you have different situations, and they're different living situations, and they're becoming so much more extreme that the people in the cities keep voting for things at a nationwide level that don't relate to people who live in rural areas, and vice versa. That's why we've always had state rights, but it seems to be because of the internet, it's all going away. People are now arguing on a national level about what's happening to them locally. And so Republicans won't recognize Biden. Democrats don't recognize Trump. Where do you think this leaves us?
Biden won the election, so it doesn't fucking matter who you recognize, Tim.
Yeah, okay. I won't say the words. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up over at youtube.com/Timcast. Let me repeat that. The website address is youtube.com/Timcast. I get a lot of messages from people saying, but I'm on the Timcast channel. I didn't say the channel is named Timcast. Don't ask me why YouTube does this. Just type in youtube.com/Timcast, and I have another channel where you can check out my stuff. So anyway, I'll be there at 4. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.
The constant Civil War baiting Tim does is ridiculous, and I honestly don't know why YouTube puts up with it. It's not good. Tim's such a jackass. Anyway. Let me do some of these messages, and then we'll raid someone. Casual Snark. This is going to be a lot of bit messages. I apologize, but let me get through them. Casual Snark. At least Tim Pool isn't going into 80s female stereotypes, so yeah, I guess. Tucker White 94. Imagine if Trump did more shit like veto a bill because it doesn't give the plebs enough money. He'd probably have a landslide at Biden like Tim Pool said he would, right? Trump could have won. He didn't, because he did a lot of stupid stuff. Dr. Gamble, psychotic spending bill when Congress recently approved a $1.375 billion bill for the border wall in 2021. Yeah, it's stupid. Dr. Gamble with 20 bits. I think the lady yelling, "We're not violent," as they bust in the door was the best part. Tucker White, oh my god, imagine still thinking that Trump wasn't the establishment bitch boy. Innsmouth swim team, biddies for birthday beans. Tucker White, well shit, pack it up everyone. Newt Gingrich, blessed be his name, said he won't recognize Joe Biden's presidency. Clearly, we've lost the battle. Stephen J. Neptune Man, any Democrat would be blamed, to be fair, because 2021 is at best going to be a transition year. Yeah. Daddy Sume, I have arrived. Welcome, Daddy Sume. Mitchell Drummer with 20 bits. Will you go out with me? No, I'm rejecting you. Oh, so it's a yes then? Tucker White 94. I can say personally that I voted for Biden only because Trump was a disaster. I know he's not working for the interests of actual leftists like myself. Probably a Lannister. Kitty fulfills her ultimate goal of hitting the button. The 7274473. Thank you for resubscribing with a 5-month streak. Kitty is tired of Tim Pool and I don't blame her. Casual Snark. Well, Tim Pool has been quite the sleeping pill today. I'm going to call it a night. Have a happy holiday, Hannah. You as well. The Shadow Witch. Hear me out here. Donald is a narcissistic asshole and will not shut up. If he keeps pushing, he will split the GOP, and if you look now, he's against everyone in Congress and the Senate, including his majority leader. Trumpers will follow him and throw others under the bus. This can end badly for the GOP and cause a political coup within the party. I know I play joke a lot, but I seriously can see Trump screwing the GOP in the next couple elections, no matter the Democratic candidates. Maybe. We'll see. Chesabel with 100 bits. Kitty Train, Daddy Sume with 20 bits. You can secede, you'll just be slapped down. True. Ashy Boo. Hype, hype, hype. Also a petition, really. MW1642, thank you for the bits. Batty Bell, thank you for the bits. For the hypeness. DM Trey says, the sad thing is that I think Tim has accidentally conditioned himself to be this way. Maybe. Skywise, thank you for the bits. Batty Bell, thank you for gifting a bunch of subs. Daddy Sume, she was a law-abiding citizen, meaning she was a white woman who shouldn't have been subject to laws. Meaty52, Hannah, law-abiding is code for white. I guess so. Chesabel just says, go, Batty Bell. The Mana King with 25 bits, thank you. Chesabel with 100 bits, thank you. And Wraith with 130 bits, thank you. Chesabel with 100 bits, thank you. Ginger Snip Snap, thank you for subscribing. Meaty52, funny thing is I almost agree with him. Like, states' laws shouldn't be so different, but they never allow reasonable gun regulations anywhere. So, Meaty52, on the government scale, $1 million is worth less than these bits. True. Doodle Muffin with 300 bits, thank you. Sugary Zachary with 45 bits, thank you. Ghetto Kania with 20 bits, thank you. Tucker White 94. There's always a whole list of crazy riders attached to the omnibus spending bills. It's usually things that wouldn't pass on their own, so representatives bury it deep in the spending bill because it's a top priority bill that has to pass no matter what. Yeah. Steve with a Q. 100 bits, thank you. Enreath with 50 bits, unrelated, but my neurologist might have figured out why I'm having seizures and it might finally stop. Chat, Hannah Baja, thanks so much for just being here. These streams have helped me get through this year, and y'all are so funny and intelligent and valid. Well, that's great. I'm glad they hopefully figure that out for you. Tucker White, Granny's death from COVID is a small price to pay to satisfy the great and powerful Economos. Amateur Hardest with 30 bits. I live in West Virginia. Ashy Boo, Silly Hannah. He does want to be left alone. It's just he wants to be the only one left alone while everyone else has to follow the rules. Tucker White, is Tim implying that no leftists lived in red states? Tim, I'm a heavy left mofo who lives in Tennessee, one of the reddest states in the country. Yeah, I think he thinks all leftists live in cities or something. It's weird. Tucker White 94. Why do chuds love telling boring stories? It's all they have. Batty Bell with 100 bits. Can we raid Squid when we're done? It's the last stream for the year? Sure. Gamerwitch 93. Thank you for following. Amateur Hardest with 20 bits. Didn't the Tim Pool video start with how Trump will win? What the hell is he talking about now? How did it get to this point? He rambles. The beanie's on too tight. Tucker White 94. Tim, that argument can be thrown right back at you. Why do people in bumfuck Alabama get to dictate what people who live in Manhattan do? Tucker White 94. And I end the stream as the bits leader. Amateur Hardest with 20 bits. I don't recognize Tim's beanie. Does that mean he will take it off? Tucker White 94. It goes on like that. And I think that's the last one. Sweet. So let's do the raid, and then we will call tonight, and I'm going to go get ready for D&D. Which I think is happening. I haven't heard from anyone, but who knows. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Twitch. Okay. Raid Squid. So thank you, everyone. I will... Oops, sorry. Jake posted about it on Twitter. Okay. Well, I hope everyone has a good evening. I will tell you, or I'll be back tomorrow for something else. I don't know what. Some sort of stream. So I'll see you guys then. If you're going out to the holidays and you won't be here for the streams, then I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, whatever you're celebrating. And I'll see you guys back whenever you can come. See you guys then. Bye.